All right, you wonderful people. Season 2 of the Virtus Performance Podcast is a wrap. I'd like to thank all of you for your listens, for your subscribes, for your reviews, for your feedback. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you to Simon for putting up with my shit. If you loved it, please share it, get it out there, send it to people. But before we have a couple of weeks off after season 2, have a little bonus episode for you. It's basically Simon and I solving the world's problems. We take a couple of hours, we have a couple of beers, and we save all of the world leaders the trouble, and we take our own severely unqualified opinions to discuss all the big issues that we find with the world at the moment and what we would do if we were in charge. So here it is. Enjoy. I apologize profusely ahead of time, but I hope you have as much fun as we did. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being wonderful. Catch you later.
And in this moment, I swear, we are infinite.
Let's do this! Come on!
Mounting!
It's too damn hot for a penguin to be just walking around.
3, 2, 1, eagle!
Are these two doctors?
I'm afraid so.
And here we go.
Show the intro.
Up to you. No, I reckon let's not today. I feel like
You say when?
it's recording. Let's begin.
All right, team. So here's the deal. We are back for season 3. No, actually, we're not doing season 3 for a little bit. But what we are here for is Simon and I were chatting the other day. We were cooped up 1.5 meters apart, and what we've decided is that we are going to solve the shit show that is 2020. So there's been murder hornets, there's been COVID, there's been Trump. There's been Scotty from marketing. There's been bushfires. What other fun things have happened in 2020, Simon?
That's about everything, isn't it?
We closed the gym for a bit. We've been hanging out at home. People fought over toilet paper. I don't know. It's been a riot.
It's been uneventful.
I know. And here's the deal. We figured that we, as 28-year-old, middle class, wise males, we know the answers to all the problems that are going on in the world in the minute.
Makes
Fair?
sense. I think so.
So what we're going to do is we're going to spend the next hour or so solving these problems, putting the solutions out there. So your Dan Andrews of the world, who's had a rough time, hasn't worn his North Face jacket in a little while, so that your, the leaders, the people out there that are making the decisions, that they can go, you know what? I think it's time we listen to the bonus episode of the Virtus podcast to figure out how we should go about unfucking 2020 so that 2021 is just brilliant.
You're welcome.
Thoughts? So, obviously over the last couple of weeks, like David Attenborough has kind of sorted the environment stuff. He nailed that in his doco. Josh Frydenberg sorted out the money stuff. Like today, budget came out maybe.
TBC.
TBC, but it seems like he's got it sorted. Dan Andrews doing a good job. The numbers are going down. So what we want to talk about is like the important stuff. So what are the topics? I'm asking you mostly because you can tell us where we start.
We're looking for the people's challenges, the ones that
the
people can solve. Together, we come together as one to bring some solutions to the surface and make the world a better place, because that's what we're all about.
That's what we're all about. And this podcast is actually called We As the People. From now on, this is episode 1 of We As the People with Simon and Lachlan, and Simon and Lachlan Save the World.
All right, let's do this.
Where do you want to start?
I think it may be a good place to start, seeing as we are trying to educate the masses, is
Trying to
education.
educate the guys at the top. The guy's in charge.
Yeah.
Education. Okay.
What do you? All right. So, question for you, Lachlan.
Pose me a question.
If you were to, I've got two questions for you. Here's question one: if you were to change the education system as a whole, what would you change? What would you do?
So, you know how in Sparta, how they used to have the rite of passage where they'd send them out into the wilderness and they'd have to kill a wolf before they could come home?
Sure.
Something like that, but maybe with koalas or so I think the education system is obviously a lot of it is industrialized from the way the industrial complex work, the way like the rows of classrooms are set up, and I guess the way here's the curriculum, teach it. It's knowledge, it's not knowing. And I think the way I would fix I have no fucking idea. I haven't really thought about these questions. I should have, but here's how I'd fix it. There'd be a rite of passage for maybe like age groups. So like say a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 14-year-old, where they have to do something. So, what you think back, and this is me posing a question to give me a little bit of time to think of a decent answer. Think back to the times in your life where you learnt the most. Were you in a classroom or were you out in God's classroom?
I was out in God's playground.
God's playground, there you go. Like that one?
Yeah, for sure. I do like that.
Yeah. So you're outside, right? Or you are with a wise elder. And here's the thing that we fucked up with Western society is we don't pay enough attention to our elders.
Yeah, I agree.
And we don't provide the support and maybe frameworks in our society to utilize all of the learned knowing that the older guys have accumulated over their years. Guys and girls, of course. Like I've been having some pretty cool conversations with my nana lately about the books she's reading, and because I'm just plying her with books because she can't see anyone because the shit show that is 2020, and learning some great things. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think that there are older codgers like Trump and Biden and all of those people in the US, and maybe ScoMo's getting on a little bit. And there are people that we don't want to listen to. We just want to. But I'm reading this book at the moment, and it's right next to me, so I'm going to pick it up. Every time I find the meaning of life, they change it. And this is from a philosopher/author, Daniel Klein. He's in his 80s, and he wrote this in 2018, I think. And it's brilliant. Like, why aren't we listening to people like Daniel Klein? He's super duper. But then, maybe that's the wrong way to go, because some could look at the age of all the people in charge in the US and be like, this is why the world's going the wrong way, maybe. But back to my thing.
It's because the people in power in that society are from a certain background or a certain, they've been educated in a certain way that makes, that they're the ones that make the decisions.
Something about being educated in rows that fucks people up.
Yeah, it's not like, if we think back to tribal days, and we keep going back to this, we keep going full circle. But if we think back to Sapiens and being in tribes, you always learn from.
Now you're pandering.
You learn from the elder, like
Yes.
they passed down knowledge through the ranks, and the hunters and the gatherers took the kids or the juveniles or the next generation and kind of took them under their wing and showed them how to do the things.
What you're saying is we need to get the wings out.
Yeah.
Like we need to open the wings and let the youngsters come under them so that we can teach them things. That's a good point. So on another book that I talk about all the time, Sapiens, Ray Dalio, one of the more successful people in society's regular version of success, but he's had some pretty epic failures as well. And I guess that's one of the things I love about him is in his book, he talks about he's had 3 stages to his life. The first stage is where he was like coming up and he felt like he knew everything. And then there was a big failure. And the second phase was where he kind of had to reconsolidate and find his feet again and kind of build the thing again. And now his third phase, he's like, I've kind of done all the things I want to do, for lack of a better term. And now it's my turn to teach the next generation or teach people who want to learn and who want to listen. And, potentially some of it's we don't want to listen or we don't put ourselves in positions to listen, but part of it might be, those generations don't teach the way that we want to learn. I don't know, but I think the structuring in a way where the people that have done good things and have the experience can create, or we can create a system that use them as, certain touch points throughout it. The rite of passage is maybe like the early on, the childhood into adolescent and things like that. We have certain things for kids to do. It might be a week-long camping trip. It might be whatever it is, a certain test of resilience or whatever. But I know I've learned more about myself. And this is, part of the conversation around education is what do we actually deem as important knowledge or what we actually need to learn. Like the self-awareness piece could be, for people to go way off the edge, it could just be termed or looked at as like mental masturbation, whereas it's just like, we're not actually getting anywhere. Whereas, just learning Pythagoras theorem for the sake of learning Pythagoras theorem, if, I have no necessarily intention of needing that. But what I've found, and I know I'm just talking out my ass here, but what I've found with like those conversations that we had at school, when are we ever going to use this, miss? Like I haven't seen anyone driving past in a truck with 30 watermelons for my maths equations. But I think about how quickly the rate of information sharing and spreading has happened over the last 20 years. Every single piece of information that we would need is like at the tips of our fingers, literally. Like if I want to learn Pythagoras, I can watch a 5-minute video.
Yeah, so it's not an information problem now.
No,
it's an adaptive problem.
Well, it's a teaching how to think, not what to think.
And I think it starts with like knowing what is important, like what you said before. It's we're not teaching kids to know this thing for the sake of it. It's teaching them like these are the things that are important to thrive, to have like a meaningful,
what would you say,
happy life.
What would you say the 3 things that you wish everyone knew? And there's intentionally no framework to that question. But if there were 3 things you could teach kids, what would they be?
On like a conceptual level, I would say that the knowledge that you're responsible for everything in your life. And like, I think you would have the same answer to that.
Oh, not anymore.
I think the other thing would be around like failure and knowing that failure is inevitable and that you will fail at things, but that's not an indicator of like who you are as a person, and that failure is an opportunity to learn and to carry that knowledge forward into other things.
I had a sidebar for a second. I've been writing little notes in my phone, just like things I think of. Success is married to failure. So to be successful, you have to fail, but failure is not married to success.
Yep.
So you're not guaranteed to succeed if you fail, but there is no way you're going to succeed if you don't fail. Fucking love that. And then I wrote afterwards, failure is imminent, pursue it, enjoy it, and learn from it.
Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
I interrupted after 2, sorry.
The third one, it's a toughie. It'd probably be something around like I was going to say something around like the meaning of life.
Ooh, every time I find the meaning of life, they change it, Simon.
Yeah. It's fluid. But
Doesn't
it would be
exist.
something around like the meaning of life isn't money or fame or superficial
But
stuff.
if I really want money, fame, and superficial stuff,
Sure.
are you telling me what the meaning of my life is?
You can
Don't you
whatever meaning you
project?
want
Don't
to.
you project your meaning on me? You take your meaning and shove it.
I will do with my meaning whatever I wish. Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, that's my perception of the meaning of life and what's important. But
yeah,
and maybe that's it. Like, not to
it's a good
accept what meaning or success is, and to kind of like create your own definition of that.
Well, that's the. I reckon that's what I took out of uni. Like, if I could boil down what spending 3 years in undergrad, 1 year, quit, cancelled, failed my masters. I'm a failure. If I could boil it down into one thing that I learned how to think critically. I realized that everyone's just winging it. Most of us are full of shit, and we're all just trying our best. So that because I think when you grow up, there's absolute, you feel as though there's absolute authority. And the older you get, you realize how batshit crazy that absolute authority is. Like, our parents are just kids that grew up and had kids. But we, for, the first chunk of our life, we go, they know
everything.
Omnipotent. So I think the ability to think critically has to be one of them. But how do you teach that? You teach that through failure and through learning through learning how science works and how the scientific method's formulated, and you learn it through reliability and validity and things like that. But you can't expect everyone to go to the bottom of the rabbit hole and all of these things, because you don't have time for that. So you've got to take things at face value a lot of the time. It's toughy. Maybe this isn't why the education system isn't perfect, because there's so many different schools of thought on it.
Well, yeah. And there's obviously evidence-based practices in education.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So we need to...
Well, I like to think that it's all there for a reason.
Yeah, I think the system just hasn't been able to catch up with the times that we're living in. Maybe
I see a cool graph the other day on the speed of technology over the last 2,000 years, and it's like little bump. See you later.
Crazy.
But that's it. Like, the schooling system is effectively the same as what it was 50 years ago. Yeah. Apart from a couple more iPads, a couple of smart whiteboards.
Yeah. But
learn to think critically, learn to practice gratitude and kindness.
Yeah.
Like, don't be a C word. And understand perspective. Know that you are perspective can be taken a couple of different ways. Like, you can look at it in relation to time, or you can look at it in relation to size or importance or significance. And for some people, I guess if you go over the cliff on that one, you could be like, well, what is the point of it all? But I'm of the school, and we've had this conversation before, but I'm of the school of thought that there is no point of it all. Make up your own shit and have fun while you do it. And you got to make the world a better place. Like, that comes first. Like, making your world and the world a better place, then have fun with it. I think that's where, if we could teach kids, that the whole equality thing, everyone's equal, everyone deserves, to be happy, healthy, and loved, then we teach them how to think critically and teach them how to problem solve. And I guess that's one as well.
Yeah.
Here's how your brain works. Not this is what a cell this is what a cell looks like. This is what's in a cell. Like, no one gives a shit about that. If you need
Unless
to
you're
study
in
it,
that
you
thing.
study it.
Yeah.
If you need to study it, study it. But we should go, this is why we think this way. These are the different pathways that occur for us to think this way. And then it's like, this is why these things happen. This is why these things happen. It's almost like an explaining why rather than just, which I guess is the same thing, but rather than just understanding, like, we want to learn about the natural environment, right? Like, rather than just saying, this is a duck, this is a cat, they have cells, these are the things that happen in their body, fucking go out and see a duck. Like, experiential learning for me is so much more beneficial than book learning.
Yeah. Like, I think it's just, there needs to be a blend of both. I think, like, I like what you said about the perspective thing and like understanding your place in the world, like that we each are the masters of our own universe, but we are also like a tiny speck in the cosmos.
Everyone should, they should just show kids Cosmos once a year.
Get a bit of Carl Sagan in there and
get Carl Sagan out talking about little blue dot. Just be like, you ain't shit. You're gonna die. You may as well have some fun and make the world a better place along the way.
Yeah, and it still blows my mind that there is so much inequality in this world, and like we have the opportunity to teach it to our kids.
There's a brilliant, and for anyone not driving at the moment, jump on your phone, Google Carl Sagan socialist, and he's got a brilliant, I think it's like a 80-second clip of him saying why he thinks socialism's stupid. And it's basically around like, we have the capacity to end world hunger because of the wealth distribution, but the wealth distribution is so skewed that, selfish men who are only interested in, and women, I'm sure there's some selfish women out there who are only interested in lining their own pockets, are the main reason why the world is the way it is. And yes, we can argue that child mortality rates, quality of living is going the right way. It's exponentially improving, but while certain companies and certain people own vast amounts of the world's wealth, whilst there's still inequality and poverty and things like that, we're like, what's the point? I have no issue.
Okay.
Let me finish that thought for a second. I have no issue with Jeff Bezos having $200 billion or whatever it is, if that the bottom level, the bottom level is above the poverty line, is everyone has a place to live. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Everyone has safety. Everyone has belonging. Everyone has shelter. Everyone has the physiological needs sorted.
Yep.
Do whatever the fuck you want. Like, accumulate all you want, but it's genuine. It's genuinely like the human equivalent of a dragon just sleeping on a pile of gold. It's Smaug, just sitting on the fucking gold.
Is it Smaug or is it Smorg?
I don't fucking know. I read the books, mate. I don't get J.R.R. Tolkien to read it to me. But last night, apparently I woke KP up because I was talking about Lord of the Rings, while I was fast asleep.
That's elite. You mentioned Lord of the Rings to me on our walk yesterday. Yeah,
she's like, you're talking in your sleep.
Oh. Oh dear.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, here's a loaded question for you.
Oh, I love loaded questions.
Do you think that true or total equality is possible?
Do I think true or total equality is possible? No, but I don't think it's necessary. Remember what we said before about success and about what we desire, and it's all different. So total equality would mean everyone has the same things. We don't all want the same things, but I think there should be, I used the term poverty line before. I think that there should be a level not just above it, a fair way above that,
Mhm.
a couple of levels above that, where, where this is where we should be as a society and as a society, as a global society. But, maybe that'll come. Maybe it won't. But here's a bit of a fun fact I read the other day, and I have no source for this. I have no. I cannot confirm or deny whether it's true or not. But 60% of the wealth in America is inherited.
That's wild.
Which means 6 out of every 10 people didn't earn the money they have. Which means that, for me, that means that, sorry, there's a fly flying around. To me, that means that we're almost like there's a big chance that person will be a wonderful humanitarian who will do brilliant things for the world around us, but there's a big chance that they'll be a fuckwit because they've never had to suffer or go through the hard yards or do hard things to figure out, holy shit, like they just, maybe that's the entitlement play or like conversation or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But isn't that scary? For me, that's scary. And again, wealth isn't everything, but wealth gives you the capacity to do, crazy things.
I wonder if, imagine a world where at the end of your life, all the money you had earned just went into a big pot somewhere.
Like a cooking pot or like a witch's brew pot or
a big cookie jar that
cookie jar
that the UN had in their kitchen.
The UN.
I don't know. Whoever controls the money, the World Bank, and it just gets circulated back into the economy or something. But
money's directly related to power, and I love the quote: "Absolute power corrupts absolutely." So you're a good guy. You care about the people around you. You want to make the world a better place. You care about your constituents. As when's the next election after this one? As as one of the newest and brightest political minds on the peninsula, I'm putting you up for election. You're welcome. But if you had infinite resources, would you use them for good? And
of course I would.
But here's the thing: how would you know?
If I had infinite resources. So if I had like a never-ending bank account.
Okay, maybe infinite's the wrong word, because
I think that is infinite.
If you had an immense amount of resources, if you had Smorg's pile of gold, Smaug, or if you had Jeff Bezos level wealth, because here's the thing that blows my mind with capitalism is that someone like Jeff Bezos can be. Obviously the pandemic has significantly increased his net wealth, and again, a lot of it's made up because it's just in the value that people place on it. But it's we can argue all day about how made up it is.
I think I read the other day that Amazon actually has never made a profit.
Yeah, but it's value. Like it's
value.
This is
perceived value. That's
exactly. This beer is only worth as much as I'm willing to pay for it, or as someone's willing to pay for it. Sorry. And this is delicious beer, so I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
So it blows my mind that, and yes, perceived, but that he can't take some of that and pay his staff a living wage and then some. It's like, why?
This plays into like a broader economical question, because if he were to start paying his workers, let's say like a grade 1 worker, let's like classify them as that. Then let's say
like a 7-year-old.
Let's say he started paying them the equivalent of like a grade 2 worker. Then all the other grade 1 workers in the country, they're going to go on strike because they're not getting as much as the Amazon grade 1s.
Go fucking work at Amazon. Or the other, the Elon Musks of the world or I'm using figureheads because it's easier to throw rocks at a person rather than an idea or an invisible, because like companies are made up, right? Yeah, they own things, but the idea of a company, like Virtus doesn't exist. Virtus is just like the space exists.
It's an ideal.
But the whole thing's an idea.
Yeah.
So, and it's easy to pick a figurehead. So I don't have anything against Jeff Bezos. I don't, like I said, I'd like, if you're listening, pay your fucking workers a little bit more. But surely that would eventually, and again, I don't know how fucking the economy works. I've read like 2 books on the economy and it blew my mind. And I learnt more in those 2 books than I did at school. And I've read them very recently, so it's on my mind. But surely that would do good things. And again, there's got to be a level, right? And it's got to be systemic and it's got to take time.
Yep.
It can't just be like, hey, I'm paying you 4 times the minimum wage.
Yep.
But to look at the way the economies around the world are going in terms of like the cost of living is rising every year much faster than the wages are raising growing.
Yep.
So, surely there's something, I don't have an answer, but I think that have you seen Trumbo, the movie?
No.
It's about communism. And it's about it like a Hollywood director who was lost all his stuff because he was communist. But I've only watched like the first 10 minutes, so I have no fucking clue how the movie ends. But there was a line early on that kind of caught me. He said to his daughter, I think his daughter might have said, "Daddy, you're a communist." He said, "Or am I a communist?" And he says, "Well, if you have your lunch in front of you and someone over there doesn't have lunch, are you going to give them their lunch? Or are you going to eat it all yourself?" And she goes, "Well, I'll share it." And she goes, "Well, you're a little commie."
Fair enough.
And but this is the thing, like where people talk about different systems like they're absolute.
Yes.
But how long's capitalism? We live in a capitalistic society. How long's capitalism been around in the Western world?
A couple 100 years, maybe. Not long.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, and how long's the human race been around?
Oh, way longer than
hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah. It is a very new invention.
Yeah. There's a Nicholas Nassim Taleb quote that I love, and I just asked you that question to slow down a little bit so that I could find it, so I didn't butcher it. But with my family, I'm a communist. With my close friends, I'm a socialist. At my state level, I'm a Democrat. At national level, I'm a Republican. At the federal level, I'm a libertarian.
Yeah.
So it's like as the scale gets bigger, we care less about the individual person and more about the thing as a whole. But Simon, as I don't know who said it, but what is good for the Marcus Aurelius, I think, what is good for the hive is good for the bee.
Yeah.
And what is good for the bee is good for the hive.
Money also isn't a thing to be, so made up.
Honey is a thing. So obviously important. Back to education. Went off the rails there a little bit, but
yeah, I like it.
Education, how would you fix it? What about the concept of school as a thing? We need it. So we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
No. I like the idea of, and I don't know how this would be implemented, but I like the idea of project-based learning.
Ooh.
Where students are given an objective that is time-bound, that they need to work with other people. They need to allocate resources.
Why do we hate group projects so much at uni then?
Because we weren't taught how to do it properly.
We need to work together.
Yeah, I don't know. Like obviously in a project, there's a team leader or a project leader. There's people who each have their roles. And I think one of the downfalls of group projects at uni was that we didn't have that. No one taught us how to manage a project properly.
It's like everyone's equal.
Yeah.
So potentially you could have like so to all the uni lecturers here, we just fixed uni group projects. You have to predetermined roles.
Yeah.
And, depending on the role, depends on what percentage of the mark you get. Therefore, you have to do but here's the thing, accountability doesn't exist in something like that, because some people, like, there's varying levels of commitment to something like university or education as a whole.
Yep.
So
that's the other thing about education, it's compulsory.
So should school be compulsory?
I don't know.
Like, because we open a Pandora's box if it's not. What do you think about this one? And this is devil's advocate, because I don't necessarily know if this would fix or change anything. But what about teachers being under-skilled? Do you think they need to spend longer at school? And I'm not saying they don't work hard. I'm like, some of the hardest working people I know are teachers. But I'm saying that, if teachers had to have a master's to be a teacher, and they were remunerated financially in relation to that, do you think schools would be better off?
I definitely think that if we paid teachers more, we would have, it attracts talent. It's like in a business. If you offer more remuneration, then you attract high performing people. And it's the same with schools. If we what if we flipped it and we paid our politicians 60 grand a year and paid our teachers
I know you didn't want to have government as a topic, but can I throw my 2 cents in about government at some point?
You may.
Because I think I fixed it. I fixed it.
Let's nail teaching first and education, and then once we've solved that, we can move on.
But all this stuff's intrinsically linked, and this is the thing.
Yeah. So it's a social problem.
If you're looking for money for teachers, by all means, take it from the pollies.
But like, if we think about it, they are in charge of educating our youth, who are going to be the future of this world. So that is a great responsibility. And
should they be in charge of educating our youth?
It is like the best time in the history of the universe.
What are we talking
so far?
Yeah, but should they be responsible for the youth? Like, where does the responsibility? Does it shift from the teachers to the parents, parents to the teachers, teachers to the kid? Like,
Yeah.
Can't say to the little 6-year-old, "Oh, you have a responsibility for your own education. Good luck. Go out, kill the koala. We'll see you in a week."
Why not? Maybe we have the koala killing bit, but that comes back to, like, if we're teaching
the metaphor,
if we're
obviously
teaching children to be that you are responsible for your life and for the effort that you put in, which then
when do you start that conversation?
Before
Fox in socks.
When do you start?
You're responsible for your life. Fox on Fox.
I think it. Yeah.
I've been telling Lucy for 10 months that she's in charge. She's responsible, and she's giving me fucking nothing back.
She still expects to be.
Maybe I'm going too early. Oh, like she started feeding herself. It's actually pretty fun to watch. Shit gets everywhere.
Love that.
It's like, how is there food in your ear? Wait, how is there food in my ear? Welcome to my world, Simon.
We love Lucy.
It's brilliant. It's fantastic. I love it.
I don't know, but I think it needs to be like, it's almost like we avoid having hard conversations, and that is a hard conversation to have because we don't know how to have it.
Do we avoid having hard conversations, like me and you? Is there anything that we need to talk about?
Let's take this off air.
No,
I think
I
think
guess
we're pretty good.
We have an open dialogue most of the week.
Yeah.
But like I said before, our parents are just kids that grew up and then had kids. Yeah. Every single person out there, right? You look at Lucy and you're like, Lucy's adorable. You look at, any baby and you go, this baby's awesome. Yeah. Every single person on earth was once one of those. Doesn't that freak you out? Like, who's someone that we don't like as a human?
I have no dislike.
Just pick someone. Just pick someone.
No, you pick
Vladimir
someone.
Putin, all right? One of the more authoritarian leaders that we've ever had. He was a baby once. He was a little Gucci, oh, little bloody, right?
So how did he turn into the man that he is today when he was the exact same as you and me when we were that age?
Maybe he's a great guy. I haven't met him. You know, if you're listening, mate, more than happy to catch up for a beer. But or
Over Zoom, of course.
Oh shit. It's getting off the rails so quick. But when did he turn? I don't know. Like it's a degrees thing, I think, in terms of someone isn't born bad, right? But they eventually get to a point where there's more bad in them than good, and they make bad decisions that may be conscious, maybe unconscious, maybe because. And this gets the conversation of like, what is the self? Like, how much of us is? There's a thought experiment that's like if we're in a planet, right? So I'm gonna butcher this, but I don't care. Say we're on Earth, and most of our species have moved to Mars, right? And I'm one of the last people here, and I can't take my body to Mars, but they've worked out this new technology where they can take all of my thoughts, all of my memories over fucking satellite, whatever, to Mars and implant it into a new body that is exactly the same as my current body, right? It's not me. It's a new body. It's like Wallace number 2. Yeah. Is it like when my first body dies and I move over there, am I still me?
Depends what you classify as like.
So here's the thing. So much of it is in the self is it can't be measured. It's what's the word I'm looking for? I swear I've gotten dumber not having conversations with people every day. Can't think of words anymore.
Vocabulary.
Yeah, my vocabulary is not working. Anyway, I can't remember what the word is, but it's conceptual in a way because it's like I've got to decide where I draw the line. There's no scientific body of evidence to show me that this is what the color blue. Yeah, it's a certain amount of green, a certain amount of other colors. Like we can objectively know what the color blue is. Yeah, I can't objectively describe what the color blue is to someone that's never seen blue, but we can, as a species, agree that this is this. Yep. But there's no way to describe when I cease being me, or if I cease being me. So back to the old little Vladdy boy, it's not like he ends up being a cunt at 12. He's like has his 12th birthday, and wakes up. He's like, all right, let's go punch on with some bears.
Let's ride a horse with no shirt on.
And again, might be a great guy. Hit me up, mate. It's not on socials. Email me. But I like to think that we all do the best we can with what we have, and I like to think that maybe that's me being naive. Maybe that's me not understanding how the world works well enough. I don't know. Just be nice to the people around you. Well, we were talking about the golden rule today. Like, what's the golden rule, Simon?
Love their neighbor as thyself.
Yeah, exactly. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Yeah. Which is a perfect thought process to go, if I treat other people the way I want to be treated, they'll treat me the way they want to be treated, and we'll all live happy and harmoniously. Surely everyone in the world can understand that concept. Yeah. Why is the world so full of hate and pain and suffering and good people, bad things happening to good people and things like that? It's because there's layers to that golden rule that we potentially don't talk about enough. Like all right, I'll treat you the way I want to be treated as long as you treat me that way first. Yeah. So I'm like waiting for you to treat me well before I decide to treat you well. It's like,
it's like guilty before
you go first.
Innocent compared to the other way around.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, there's obviously levels or degrees of how well you treat someone. So obviously we all have people we like and people we don't like. So you determine how you treat them based on those preconceived feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But certain people maybe don't have the same moralistic values as other people, so they can push the boundaries of that rule a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I was saying today, and obviously everyone else isn't privy to that conversation, so maybe I should just say it like I'm saying it for the first time. But I was saying that so in Super Thinking, that book I was reading a couple of months ago, there's a thing called the freeloader effect. And the freeloader effect is basically like a rule's great if it works if 99% of people do it, but when it gets to like 76% of people, then it falls down.
Yeah.
And I was kind of saying, well, if 99% of people treat people the way they want to be treated, the world will be magnificent. But it gets to a point if too many people decide that they want to be an exception to the rule, is the rule ceases to exist. And vaccines and herd immunity, eventually it gets to a point where enough people are not doing it that the whole fucking house of cards come crashing down and it's a shit show, right? Like imagine, just put your little future hat on for a moment. Imagine if in 30 years' time polio's back because the Karens decided they didn't want to vaccinate their kids anymore.
Damn it, Karen.
Like in the scheme of things, that sounds ridiculous, but there's measles resurgences in the US and different countries because of this. And it's like, I don't know, maybe back to the education thing, maybe we just need to teach kids at the place they hold in the universe, but it's like, it's insignificant as it gets. But at the same time, these are the people that your decisions influence.
Yep. If they realize that it's not about them and it's about others, and every action has a consequence, and like you kind of said, like it's not just a single decision, it's the compounding effect of multiple decisions or multiple people making the same decision that cause the big changes.
This is one of my new favorite beers, by the way. The Bearded Seal from
shout out
from Hop Nation. Get around the lads. That makes an excellent beer.
I'm also drinking Hop Nation.
Oh, unofficial podcast sponsor. Love that. What are we talking about? Education and stuff.
Little actions turning into big consequences, basically.
Little levers move big rocks. Give me a lever long enough and I will move the world.
Oh.
Archimedes, probably. I don't know.
Probably.
Should start misquoting everyone. Just start saying things and giving it someone completely different. To infinity and beyond. Abraham Lincoln. Should we switch to a different topic, or should we? Like, sure. I know that there's going to be swings and roundabouts, and they'll come back. But how about? And I've got 4 topics written down here that we're potentially going to talk about. And education was at the bottom, so you kind of threw me at the start because I was like, he'll talk about one of the big ones first. But education's a big one, I guess.
Education's important.
Can I riff on how I think we can fix government?
Here we go.
Welcome to my TED Talk. So, just so you know, I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, but this is a fun.
This is an unqualified opinion.
Correct. If you want to know about stretch, shorten cycle and how to get the most out of your 1K time, or potentially bench press, or if you want to play good footy physically, then I can help. But this, take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with
a
lump of salt.
Where that saying comes from?
I don't know.
No, neither do I. So, government. Here's my thoughts and plans around it. Where do I start? There's so many things. All right. So over the last couple of 100 years, there's been a clear separation of church and state, which has been, brilliant for the state, because maybe the church isn't the most evidence-rich belief system, which is fine. I'm probably going to believe in a deity in 40 to 50 years when I'm on the verge of losing consciousness forever, and I need something to keep me going. But church and state separation has been very beneficial for the social movements that have shaped our last 100 years, right? Women voting, equality for all these kind of things. It needs to go further, right? There needs to be separation. So there's church over this side, there's state in the middle. There needs to be further separation between science and state, right? So here's the deal. 99, I'm just using climate change as an example, but if 99% of scientists believe that climate change is happening and the evidence is overwhelming, why the fuck is it politicized? Why are we talking about it? I don't give a fuck if there's one scientist that has the conversation, because only one person can be, one scientist that is arguing that it's not happening, but he gets the same amount of time as the 99% others. Like, come on. So here's what we do. All the important issues, and we've got to find out where we draw the line on important issues. It's like, what lockdown rules do we think are ridiculous and we think are not? There's a line somewhere. Yeah. Outdoor pools open, gyms not. Come on. But anyway, so we draw the line at the things that can drastically impact our quality of life on Earth and our ability to stay here for long term. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So climate change, great example. Thanks for bringing it up. And if you haven't seen David Attenborough's new documentary, watch it. He gets a little heavy on the humans are a plague thing, but I'm fine with it.
Wow.
So did I lose you?
No, keep going.
Wait for someone to come back.
I'm back.
Oh, there we go. So what I'm thinking, like the internet itself, is that we draw the line around things that can actually impact the longevity of the human race and of the world as a whole. I've generally you've paused. I don't know if it's recording. I don't know if I'm seeing you.
Keep going.
Just gonna hold. Just think amongst those would do. I generally can't see you. I can't hear you. Lost everything.
Can you hear me?
Kill your video for a second and turn it back on.
If it's still recording on my end, and we can't hear Lachlan, so hopefully we get back in touch soon. In the meantime, here's a little ditty.
He moved.
Can
we have life.
All right, we're back.
What? I saw a thumb. Did you do that like the? Can't hear him, can't see him. I'm just going to hang out, talk to myself. He says keep talking. Okay. Now I lost me train of thought. Why is it called train of thought anyway? All right. So what was I talking about? Science. There's a line we draw, and it's an arbitrary line, but I don't care. We can move the line, like it can change down the track. But the stuff that the consensus is like maybe above 85% on or 80% on, then we run with it. Yeah, we let the scientists, the people that have studied their whole life on the thing, we let them decide what we do with the important shit. Okay. Then in the middle, we've got the state, we've got the politicians, we've got the way that different countries and things are run, which this can be up for debate, certain parts of it, because of different cultures and different belief systems and things like that. Yeah. Like I don't expect Timbuktu to run the same way as New Zealand. Yeah. You can do your own thing, but we start from the top. The people running it have to be in the stage of life that Dalio is in now. Yeah, we spoke about it before. In the third stage of life where they're like, I've actually done something. I'm not just a career politician that realized that this was a great way to make a few bucks and fly around the world and go to Hawaii when there's bushfires, etc. they're someone that's actually been a contributing member of their industry for a certain period of time. And I don't know, maybe this is a radical idea, but the health minister has to be someone from the health system. Yeah. The education minister, their sole qualification for being the education minister can't be that they went to school. Yeah. They need to have been in the thick of things for a while.
Like a teacher.
Like a teacher or an educator of some sort. Yeah. And maybe there's a rule. They're not dealing with the important shit, like whether we burn the earth alive or not. They're dealing with the slightly less important shit, like how do we teach our kids? Still important, but slightly less important. And if we do that, no career politicians, gone, have to be in your industry for 10, 15 years, have to actually have runs on the board before you take up public office. Yeah. Then, and obviously there's different levels of public office. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with local. I'm happy with state. I think COVID's shown us that we need state governments.
I agree.
Local governments seem like a bit of a wank a little bit, but I see the utility.
Yeah.
I see the utility in it. But maybe there needs to be a better, I don't know, I would feel more likely to vote for people or to want to vote for people or want to get around the local government if I knew that these people had done things. Yeah. I don't care, like what you believe is fine, but what you believe off the back of what you have done is more important. So if I know someone's that's run 3 small businesses and has been a part of the local community, has done this, and this, I'm going to be more likely to vote for them than someone who says, I'm a hero for small business, but I'm 19 and, I haven't done anything. I have no issue with young people doing good things, but it's like having a life coach at 18. Like, there can't be 18-year-old life coaches. You haven't fucking done anything. And I'm not underplaying your experiences, but I was a fuckwit when I was 18. I was an idiot. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know what I'm doing now. But if someone gave me the keys to teach someone about life, I would have had a crack. I would have done a horrible job.
You would have backed yourself in.
I would have, but this is the problem. Like the arrogance and ego of 18-year-old Wallace was, insurmountable at times. So that's how I'd fix it. There'd be 3 levels: church, state, science. We'd have clear lines. And obviously there's movement between the lines. I don't think one guy should be in charge, which is a fairly, there's a consensus there. I think we should have, like I said before, we pick like the 12 different areas. It might be like business, education, environment, health, etc. And we have maybe the science fiction movie's got it right. Maybe we should have a council of elders, and they don't have to be old, but they've just got to have done something.
They've got some skin in the game, and they've done
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thoughts. Government, discuss.
Oh, you're done.
I'm done. That's all
No,
I could go forever, but I think that gives you the gist
cool.
of how I feel.
Yeah, I like that.
I just don't understand how there can be 99% consensus between scientists yet. It's 2020, and we're still there's still argument or conversation, or to use the US as an example, and obviously it's happening at the moment. But for them to not bring up climate change in the debate, that should be 80% of what we're fucking talking about.
Yep. It's I think one of the biggest issues is that there's almost like way too many factors, and it just like muddies the water. There's too many people that the politicians are trying to please. From
the best way to stop water from muddying?
Just let it sit for a little bit.
Just stop and just watch it, see what happens.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Like, you're spot on. It just gets muddier and muddier and muddier and muddier, and then we don't know up from we're in this analogy, we're in the water. We're submerged. we don't know up from down because it's so dark and we don't know where we're going.
Yeah. And we're gonna drown.
Well, it's like I watched a movie the other day around the Tasmanian tiger. Willem Dafoe, who is potentially the greatest actor of any generation. He's a king.
Wow.
Love him to bits. I actually don't know why he was in a movie about the Tasmanian tiger, but that's not important. But I was thinking about the loggers, because they do a little bit of environmentalist stuff there, and how the greenies would tie themselves to trees, and the loggers who would be like, you're taking our jobs, you're taking our lives, and they're like genuine, people I believe were killed in the last 50 years in Tasmania around like the damming and the hydro stuff. I just think it's so short-sighted for the loggers to be like, if you don't let us cut down these trees, we'll lose our jobs. Like, we've all seen the Lorax. We know what happens when the onceler cuts down all the trees. Yeah.
You know what I haven't seen? The Lorax.
How have you not seen the Lorax?
I love how you're so outraged about this.
Oh, the Lorax is the movie that shows you why capitalism isn't going to work long term. It's like, I don't watch David Attenborough if you want, but just fucking watch the Lorax. Read the book.
To-do list. Watch Lorax.
Put it tomorrow. Like, I'm not letting you start work tomorrow until you've watched the Lorax.
Deal.
Deal. If there's a movie to watch, it's the Lorax. But the onceler cuts down all the trees. So he had a deal with the Lorax, who's the protector of the trees, that he's not going to cut down the trees. He's just going to pick the fur to make the...
Don't give it away. Spoilers.
No, this is important. I don't care. You've had your chance. The movie came out in 2010. The book was probably from like the 70s when Dr. Seuss was, pumping.
Up and about.
You've had 8 years. All right. You've had your chance. There's a what's it called when you've got a certain amount of years until things become public domain? What's the term?
Not sure.
It's going to bug me, and I'm going to think of it as soon as we're off podcast. No, I don't have it. You've got a certain amount of time, and then bad luck. Spoilers don't exist anymore. All right.
That's fair. That's fair.
If I'm talking about Alien from 1973 and you haven't seen it, and you're like, oh, no spoilers. No.
You know what I haven't seen?
It shoots out of the chest. It's brilliant. Brilliant film.
I've seen that bit.
Oh, yeah, but you're a disgrace. Watch some fucking movies.
Well, as you were.
Educate yourself. Here's how we should change education. Everyone should subscribe to my letterbox, and I will teach you about good movies.
I was too busy learning about Pythagoras to watch films.
See, not important. I don't care the long side of a triangle. I'll just ask someone else to check it. Or like, what were we talking about? Lorax, cutting down trees.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Oh, yeah. So the loggers, right, would and that whole industry is just like, oh, we've got to cut down these trees. There is a finite number of trees. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if we decide that climate change isn't a thing, then eventually we're fucked. Yeah. A line from David Attenborough that I watched last night, so it's still somewhat in my head. He's just like, if we can't do it forever, it is by definition unsustainable, and we need to change the way we're doing it.
Yeah.
So for the loggers in Tasmania, they're short-sighted because they go, you're not cutting down trees, I'll lose my job. But if I keep cutting down trees, everyone will lose their job. The world will go poof into a big fiery ball and we'll all die. Yeah. But it'll just happen over a couple of 100 years, and it'll be slow and painful, and there'll be lots of human suffering. And I guess that's better than someone not having a job, maybe.
It's just a matter of perspective. Like, realizing that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and seeing that, like, imagine if all of the world's resources were pulled together to solve all of our big problems. We'd be able to just
what are our big problems that need solving?
Climate change. Obvious number
Climate change is almost number one. Poverty.
Yeah, inequality. So what?
There you go.
Poverty
I'm talking
slash
too much.
inequality.
You need to tell me to shut. You need to tell me to shut up.
No, it's all right.
Have hard conversations. You can tell me to shut up. There's a 20% chance I'll listen. Consensus is that I should shut up,
Right.
but I'm not going to.
We should get a poll going.
I am the single climate change denying scientist.
Just tell them to shut
And
up.
you will
Go to
hear
this
me
corner.
roar. You will hear me roar. I will voice my opinion.
Climate change,
All right, go.
poverty,
Yeah.
Inequality
Mhm.
between gender, race, religion.
Genders don't exist anymore.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot.
So anything else? They're the big three.
The big three.
Well, you could say world peace.
That's
but
just all war is just a fight over resources and power, right?
Yeah, and we are fallible beings, and power will always be a thing, and war will always be a thing. Potentially, like we just sit people in the naughty corner rather than shooting them in the head, maybe. Like potentially there's a different way to wage war.
Just give them a timeout.
Let's wage psychological war where we like talk about the meaning of life and bring large groups of people into existential angst and make them question the question on the ground they walk on and the thoughts they have and whether their self is, and if we were to go to Mars and they were to be beamed up like Captain Kirk, like would they be them or would they be something else? Like these are the questions we should be asking, but we only are able to ask those questions as people who live in a brilliant part of the world and are very lucky and aren't lucky by their own doings. They're lucky because we were born here.
We inherited that.
And I think
really,
that's what too many, maybe not enough people, that is a perspective play. Not enough of us or not enough people understand that, when you hear that 60% of wealth in the US is inherited, then obviously all of the poverty is inherited too.
Yep.
So, we have a heightened sense of accomplishment as to the things that we do. But I am who I am because of where I was born, the people that were around me when I was brought up by my parents who raised me. I am not who I am because of the things I've done. I was that person. I'm that person regardless of the things I was done that I've done. Yeah, I can fuck it up. And I can move the needle a certain amount. But there's a bandwidth to that. I wasn't born in the slums of Brazil with no money and no hope and no family that can raise me. I was born with, to parents that owned a home, and dad was able to work, mum was able to look after me. Like, I think that the perspective, and it's maybe back to the education, if we learn that birth lottery is a thing, and we learn that, yes, we have to, I don't know what I'm going, but we have to play the cards we are dealt. But if we're dealt good cards, we almost have a responsibility as humans to be able to help the generations of people that don't have good cards. Let's chuck them an ace if we can. Yeah. But there's people hoarding piles of aces. This is not a normal 52 card deck, Simon, if you were wondering.
I was not.
There's people hoarding all these kings and aces. Well, just fucking give them out. You only need a couple.
Yeah, that's bring out the cookie jar, the UN cookie jar.
Oh, we're back to the cookie jar. No, but
let me finish that line of thought.
Power.
Because
I want to tell you why the cookie jar is flawed.
What have you got against cookies? If when you die, let's say like there is an X amount, a figure that is passed on to your children or your family.
So
that
like
is
capped amount.
A capped amount rather than like 10%, because there's a big disparity between like one person's 10% and another person's 10%. But if there's like a capped number that's passed on to your your family, and the rest of it is pulled together and is put toward solving these big problems, then all of a sudden this inherited wealth thing isn't a problem, because people have to earn their way up the ladder. They need to.
We're assuming that it is a problem.
Let's assume it's a problem.
That's our assumption.
That is my perspective. That is the
I also believe
that
it's
I
a
look
problem.
through.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, all of a sudden it means that everyone starts off from the same starting line. An effort and commitment towards something is rewarded. People can't just sit back and become lazy and spend their wealth on frivolous, superficial things that don't actually add value to.
But what if they want to? Like,
well, then they have to earn it.
So I don't know what the percentage is, but I would imagine that the amount of, so think of the things that we buy that we don't need: TVs, phone chargers, beers. But there's the thing, like, who gets to say what we can buy and what we can't? This beer is doing great things by my inner chemistry at the minute.
Perceived value is high. Right.
So perceived value is high. So
sure,
who the fuck are you to tell me I can't buy my beer?
You can buy your beer if you want, because you've worked hard to earn the money to buy it.
But there's the work hard thing. Like, it's like, has someone who inherited 400K or $1 million or whatever the number is, yeah, sure, they've worked hard, but the guy, the cleaner at the shops, or the guy, the guy sweeping up after people, or the guy doing the
woman working really, 3 jobs to support her family.
Yeah, exactly. These are the people that they work hard. So hard work doesn't determine whether you end up wealthy at the end of your existence or not. And this is the thing that I think I definitely thought that early on.
Yeah,
I definitely would have had that belief system when I was growing up. Was that, well, the harder you work, luck is a product of hard work. Mm-hmm. The harder you work, the luckier you get. So therefore, if I work hard, I will get what I want.
Yeah.
But that's not how life works. You can work all of your life and get to here, and some guy could be born into a family with wealth that starts here, and then I die here, this guy starts here. It's like, where's the equality?
Yeah.
So it doesn't exist. So then the question is, what do we do about it? Don't you fucking say cookie jar.
If there's a cookie jar, then the less fortunate people can just dip in and grab a couple of choc chips,
Okay, so are you saying like a redistribution of resources in terms of money?
Yes.
So are you saying that universal basic income should be a thing? Are you drawing this? So I agree. I think here's the thing: we have in our minds over the last couple of years, we've gone from doing whatever the king wants, depending on which part of the world we're from, to we have to work 40 hours a week. Like, how long's a 40-hour work week been around? I'm Googling it.
Surely since the Industrial Revolution, which was
but a couple hundred years ago, 1700s onwards.
Yeah.
40-hour work week origin.
That's like the evolution of the factory worker and like mass production and industrialization.
1866.
There you go.
Right. So
50 years.
Second question: how long have humans been Homo sapiens? 200,000 years, right? Which is the number I had in my head. I should have just said it with some authority and I would have sounded smart, but I didn't, because I check my things by one Google search. I've done my research.
Thank you, Google.
Thank you, Google. So 200,000 years, right?
Yeah.
You're good at math, Simon. Work out what 1866 to now is how many years?
Let's round up to 200 years. So
yeah. What's percentage?
0.001 or something.
I'm Googling things really well, so yeah, I did not get the right answer.
It's about
so it's a very, very small percentage, right? of all of the human existence and all of the things that we've learned and gained along the way, we've decided over the last 150 years that 154 years that the 40-hour work week. Oh, yeah, good. The 40-hour work week is. Hold on, you got the right zeros.
I am.
Proud of you.
Thank you, Pythagoras.
Do you want a medal?
Say.
Oh, do you want a participation trophy? Yeah, we should talk about participation trophies.
Oh man.
So for 200, so 0.001% of our existence as humans, we've decided that the 40-hour work week is a thing. I think that if we can get robots and automated machines to do our jobs for us, great, because then we can have important conversations like what is the meaning of life, how do we fix climate change, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We can actually do shit that we love to do. We don't have to be stuck in a cubicle or stuck doing something that we don't love. And I don't think we should love everything. I think there's hard things. If we do a job we love, there's going to be massive amounts of difficulty and struggle with it. But we love that. It's good. We like doing hard things. But if we are able to utilize technology to redistribute wealth better, which, at the moment we're kind of getting to the cusp of it happening, but that wealth is being funneled into really narrow humans like Jeff Bezos, for an example. Again, figurehead.
Jeff's getting ravaged tonight.
You know what? I don't think Jeff gives a fuck. He's sitting there on his fucking mountain of gold with his fucking dragons going, this guy. But there's the, like, we understand that, right? The US politician who is pushing this stuff is Andrew Yang, and I really like some of his ideas. So, chuck a quick Google search, do your research and learn about him. And I think that there is so much utility to a universal basic income. What I was talking about before about bringing us everyone on Earth to the poverty line and then up a bunch of levels so that we can all start worrying about self-actualization. Like, we all want to belong, great. And then if we're all self-actualizing, then surely the world becomes a better place. Like, we learn how to farm correctly so that and sustainably. Like I said, the definition of sustainably before. We learn how to fish the ocean sustainably. We learn how to spend our days sustainably. We learn how to do this and do this and do this. Which means that all of the best minds in the world are spending time on the things that matter, which is, for me, again, everyone's got their own meaning of life, but for me, it's to live a life of contribution and enjoyment. They're probably the two things that I think we should do good things with good people and contribute to the world around us. And we should have lots of fun while we do it. Didn't swear.
Pretty. Love that. I agree.
So have we sorted it?
Is it not fixed yet?
I think we fixed it.
I
hope Vladimir is listening.
We should send this by airmail.
Who do you reckon would listen? If, pick a world leader who would listen.
A world leader, Jacinda. Yeah. Sure.
I was thinking the same thing. She seems very approachable.
She does.
So we fixed education. Or I think we threw education a couple of bones, but we didn't fix it because it's so different. But I think there should be a desire-based learning in education. Like we talk about project-based, desire-based. What do you want to learn? Kid loves dinosaurs. Go learn about dinosaurs.
That's like Steiner schools. They do that.
Yes,
and there is I think there is utility to that, but there's not a lot of evidence to support that it is an effective way to learn.
Yeah, I haven't looked into Steiner schools enough, but I guess we've had the conversation on this podcast with Tommy and Sammy and Eliza about what schools we wanted our kids to go to and stuff. We did a couple of those podcasts and then KP got pregnant. Whoops. Best thing ever though. But now I've actually got to start having those
Yeah.
conversations slash
thinking
thought
about it.
processes slash do my quick Google search research. I'm actually not using Google. Fun fact. I'm on DuckDuckGo. Quack quack.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So
Just
which I hate because it doesn't have all of the secret spyware following me around the internet, knowing exactly what I want to search. So I've got to, actually pay attention to what I type in. It doesn't follow me around the internet. Yeah. But if you want a search engine, and again, unofficial sponsor, but if you want a search engine to not follow you around the internet, DuckDuckGo is brilliant.
Yep.
And I'm gonna give Gabrielle a plug.
Oh,
Great book, good book, super thinking. This is one of the best books I've ever read. I could honestly say that about the last 4 books I've read. But
love that.
yeah. Do you want to talk about social media?
Oh, I think we've talked about social media enough.
Yeah. Don't do it. It's a trap.
Just have a month off. See what you think. Do a Lachlan.
I'm having 3 months off.
3 months. Just go the full hog. The whole hog? The full hog.
The whole hog? Either one.
Yeah.
Just find a hog. Well, you mentioned inequality, right? How do we fix inequality? Because you brought it up a couple of times. You obviously have some guilt associated with that, and you feel like you need to fix it.
I think for me it just blows my mind that women still don't have equal rights, or
Where do they not have equal rights?
well, like the pay gap, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's reasons to, and I'm partly being a little bit
like
obnoxious here.
Yeah.
But there's reasons to there's evidence to show that the pay gap is because of choices more than inequality.
Yeah, and that's like traditional choices that have built to where we are today. Yeah,
but there's also the which we know a lot about, is the assertiveness. You're more likely, for example, you're more likely to get a raise if you ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not as assertive, you're less likely to ask. And yes, I'm painting a whole sex with the same brush, but females are less likely, on average, to be assertive than males are, right? So there's reasons like that, and there's obviously the childbearing reason, and there's a bunch of other reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
But the KP posted something about it the other day, and I was like, "Do you want to talk about it?" She's like, "No, I don't want to talk about it," because I was like, "Question," but she's like, she was looking up super stuff, and she's like, "Do you think it's a problem?" And she put a poll out on Instagram, and I was the only one that said no. And it's not that I don't. Part of me was just being a little antagonistic. But it's the same thing as like the people that start with a lot of money make a lot of money. It's like there's a reason why the billionaires have made lots of money during the pandemic, is because they had the capital to begin with that they can leverage to make more, right? And like there's a reason why males have more super contribution than females, is because of the reasons we've mentioned.
Yeah.
So it exists because of reason. This is what, like, my conversation around equality is, we don't need, everyone should be treated the same. And I don't want to come off the wrong way. Everyone should be treated the same, full stop. Everyone, people shouldn't be discriminated against because of their belief system, their sex, their gender, or their race. People shouldn't have to fight against the things they can't choose.
It's just, to me, it's just a non-conversation. Like, I
would agree, but we're having it because it exists.
Yes.
It's like, don't be a cunt to people should be a non-conversation, but I feel myself repeating it more often than I would like to. And I apologize to anyone for saying the C word. I said it for emphasis.
Emphasis.
I put emphasis on different syllables.
Yeah.
You're so easy to take on your thought train.
That just got me. Might be the beer ad.
Too many bearded seals.
Too many Denzels. Yes,
Too many Natalie McCanns.
The discrimination thing is just like, I'm not interested in having a conversation about anyone trying to justify themselves otherwise, really.
Yes.
And
I
maybe that is very
completely
close-minded of me, not to be open in my beliefs, but there are obviously systems in our society that are very slow-moving and very, very slow to change. And there are a lot of people and groups within society that have belief systems that they like identify with so strongly, which is why that they can't or aren't willing to change.
Oh, and I look at it and go, okay, we understand that, but equality doesn't need to exist, but equity does.
Yes, so there's a difference between equality and equity.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Equity is the access to opportunity.
Yeah. So it's like there's no bias because of your X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Whereas equality, everyone gets a fair go. Everyone gets equal share. And I don't think we should have equal share because people work different, like people value different things, people work different ways, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then the issue becomes the structure of society where we're structured with a like salaried X amount of hours per week. This is your worth. Like, you need to earn a living wage to, exist, which is why didn't any adults tell me that this is what being an adult was? That you have like, it's like starting a business. It's like you go, oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to do some things. What? I've got to earn $4,000 a week before I actually make $1. What? And it's like, as a human, I wish someone told me that. As a human, we need to make a certain amount before we can, like, anything becomes excess. So, like, depends where we live and what we do, but, mortgage or rent, and then there's food, and then there's safety and clothing, and we need to tick those boxes before we can do anything.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it's almost like we've grown to the gap between survival and thrival, which is a word I just made up. You know that?
I love. Play on.
Over the last 50 years, being even smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. And, I like blaming people, so let's blame the boomers. It's their fault, okay? They got free uni, and then they fucked up society and made us pay for everything because they wanted to make money.
God damn it.
It's like in Team America, where they're like, the children were playing in the Sean Penn, children are playing in Gumdrop Meadows and having fun, and then there was the corporations up in their buildings being all corporation-y, and they make money. That's pretty much what it is. It's a couple of people pulling the levers and making it harder for the next generation. And I could go on all day, but I've spoken about it before. But the thing, if there's one thing that frustrates me the most, it's people or generations or individuals who believe that I had it hard when I was growing up, my kids should have it hard too, or that like our generation was tough. Back in my day, this was horrendous. So everyone else should experience that too. The goal of existence in a Western society should be to leave it better than you found it. To make the world a better place so that your kids don't have to worry about survival. They don't have to worry about where they're getting food. They don't have to worry about where they're getting shelter. They can worry about what the fucking meaning of life is. And they can argue about stupid shit like that.
Maybe that's just a false objective then. But
at the end of the day, none of it matters anyway because we die and, the sun's going to explode in a couple 100,000 years and, why not just kill the whales now?
Maybe inherently we know that we're going to die, so we just don't care enough.
I hate that. But if we're here and if we have the capacity to think and the capacity to look to the future, which among 1,000 other things is the reason why we are in the position we are fucking up the world. Why wouldn't we do something about it?
Yeah.
It's like Marcus Aurelius' quote, don't argue what a good man should be,
Just
Be
be
it.
one.
Oh,
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite quotes.
oh. I realize that I
let's stop
say
talking about
that's my favorite book, quote, movie
insert here.
more than twice a day. Insert new thing here. Like, this is my favorite book, but this is also my favorite book.
This is my favorite shirt. This is my favorite shoes.
Oh yeah, has a I Love You Strong Time shirt.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
I'm writing a blog post at the moment, which is like the 33 things I've learned since becoming a dad. And one of them was like, my favorite thing about being a dad is seeing how much Lucy loves her mum and how much her mum loves Lucy's loved by her mum.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 3 things later, I wrote, my favorite thing about being a dad is, and I was like, what am I doing? I've got too many favorite things. Maybe I need to,
okay.
You know how the word literal, no, what's the word literal means literal. What was the word that like got changed in the dictionary to mean literal?
Don't know. Haven't heard that story.
Oh, man, I can't think. What is it? And I
Figurative.
talk about something else and I'll find out. Yeah, figurative? No, literally. No, yeah, literally got changed to mean figuratively.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, I literally did this. Well,
Yeah.
no, you didn't. But then it actually got changed because too many people were using it. I need to protest, or I need to put out a petition for the word favorite to get changed to mean a bunch of things that you like, rather than your absolute favorite thing.
But then what is your absolute favorite? Like, what's the word for your absolute favorite?
It's like my ultimate thing, but I can't pick a thing.
My ultimate favorite.
When I say favorite, it's right in this moment with my current thought process. Like, this is my favorite book. But I could make a great argument why this is my favorite book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my favorite
And
podcast episode so far.
there's part of me in my head that's going, oh, you fuckwit, it's the blue one. And the other part's going, you're a dickhead, it's the red one. And I'm going, well, I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's one of those ones. I don't bloody know.
Do we have to have an absolute ultimate favorite?
No, but it adds weight to when I'm talking to Simon or whoever it is, let's say it's you, and you say, what book should I read? I say, well, my favorite book is this. It adds weight to I say, well, you should read this book. It's just language we use. It's all made up. We're just throwing shit at a wall and some of it's sticking. And, maybe we should just read Harry Potter because
Language is just syntax and grammar.
Oh, I hate that.
And you say that a lot as well.
I do hate that though, because it's like one sentence can take one of the most brilliant inventions of humankind and turn it into like
A trivial,
trivial thing, and it shouldn't. It's like people say social media is bad, and again, I'm off social media at the moment for 3 months because I am better than everyone that's currently on social media. I realize that I am morally superior and that I actually understand the way the world works better than you all. So
everyone,
bad luck.
I apologize for my friend.
I can't help it. Realize, after 6 days and 9 hours, my moral superiority about being off social media. But people tar it with a brush of it's bad. It is the most brilliant thing that we've ever come up with in terms of connectedness and being able to connect. But it's a tool in a toolbox. Exactly. Jeff emailed me back the other day and said I'm a toolbox. And it was in the survey. He said Lockie's a toolbox.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I still don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
With Jeff, it's probably both.
As a morally superior human, I'm taking it as a good thing. But there's like anything we can say there's good and bad to it, right? Can we talk about how we fix the fitness industry? Can that be a thing?
Might break us. Sure.
Or is it too close to home? Is it too...
I think that almost deserves like a full episode.
Part of this conversation is more enjoyable because we have no fucking clue what we're talking about. And we know we've got no clue. We know that we're just throwing shit at a wall.
We actually
we
invested in the fitness industry.
Sure, there's a little bit of context. Like the education minister, I went to school. so I can talk about education. You know, like the environmental minister, I live on planet Earth, so I can talk about climate change. You know, like the health minister, I've been to a hospital. That actually, those things properly roll me up because I can't like. It's I get if you're in a position of power that you want to look after your mates. I get that. Like, you know, I want to be able to do things for people at Virtus because it ups my social standing and makes me feel good about myself. But when the fate of the free world is at stake, and I don't think that's hyperbole or hyperbole if you're that way inclined.
Syllable.
Syllable. All words made up. I can say however the fuck I want.
Grammar and syntax, everybody.
Grammar and syntax. So this. Welcome to Grammar and Syntax with Simon Wallace. So why do we not call you Simon?
It's happened before.
Has it? Where?
There was a.
Tell us about the time we went to the UK.
This was actually in where was it? In Bosnia.
Get another beer.
So everybody, here's a sidetrack. 2016, Bosnia, staying in an Airbnb, and a little old man. He welcomed us into his home. He was a beautiful man, and that night Sally Ann was unwell, and so this old man, I can't remember his name. I should remember it, but Simon, you must run down the street and get her some bread. so raining outside, I've run down the street, gotten Sally Ann some bread. He's made her some tea, some traditional tea.
So chivalrous.
Yeah, and anyway.
Where's the story going? I feel as though there should be.
Sally was unwell, and I got back from bringing her back the bread, and
I feel as though there should be more.
She was sitting on. So I got back. She's sitting on the couch with him and his family, watching some Bosnian television, waiting for me to bring the bread back, because she had a sore tummy, and it was a delightful trip.
All right, so you know how I've made a couple of references to pop culture, and you've said, "Oh, I haven't actually seen that movie." You have seen Billy Madison, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the way people are going to finish this podcast in, probably 90 minutes because I've got things to talk about, is they're going to say, "We are now dumber for having heard that."
Yes.
That story is how I felt.
Wow.
It did not add any value to my life whatsoever.
You asked me when someone called me Simon. I told you.
Well, I guess in that, like, can the story have a lesson or something? Like, I feel as though you could have padded out the lengths you went to get the bread. Like, potentially you ran down the street, like and again, hyperbole, but you went to the store and it was closed. And you thought, "Oh no, Sally Ann, like, I need you to have bread because gluten is important for digestive health, maybe." And then you're like, and then I looked at my watch and I saw that the bakery next town over would be open in 30 minutes, and it was 7 k's away. Which, as I don't run because my name is Simone, and I have sore feet, then I would be able to run across. So you went to the next town and you got the bread, and then you stole some bike and you rode back, like, pedaling hard and just trying to get through it, and it started raining.
Oh man.
It was rain, and you were drenched, but you were holding your bread because you love Sally Ann, and you got back and you gave her the bread and you said, "Sally Ann, got you the bread." And she's like, "Why'd you take so long?"
Moral of the story is
you gotta pad these things out. You gotta make lessons. Life is just lessons. So maybe if we changed schooling rather than a transfer of information, it's literally just storytelling.
Yeah, my stories would improve. You're right.
And that is the story of the puppy who lost his way.
I like books.
So I want to open a bookstore Farrell's have kind of got the monopoly in Mornington, which is fine. But I want to open a bookstore and call it I Like Books.
It's a great name for a
I've
bookstore.
said I've said it is, or is it?
It is, I think. Well, it makes
It's
sense.
just called I Like Books, and we sell books. I would love to own a bookstore one day.
Yeah,
I think it would be brilliant.
It would be.
Do you want to work there?
Anyway. Yeah, sure.
You need to get on with pop culture references to get through the interview process.
Watch Alien. Watch Lorax. Read The Puppy Who Lost His Way.
Of all the movies that I could have brought up, the Lorax is up there, but Alien isn't one of my top 50 movies probably.
It is.
No,
Oh,
it's brilliant. I have a propensity to like movies that are a little bit more recent than Alien.
it defines a genre.
What's your favorite movie? And I know favorite is subjective, and obviously it changes, it's fluid. But what's your favorite movie?
I don't think I have an ultimate.
Oh,
favorite.
shut up! Just tell me your fucking favorite movie.
I really like.
My name's Simon. I live on the fence.
The.
Do you get tired sitting up on the fence all the time?
Yeah, because I'm constantly climbing back and forth over the fence.
Just pick a side and just camp out. And then this is why the world's in such turmoil, is because people pick a side and they're not like Simon and climbing over. But you know what? Future Wallace is made a gate, so you can just walk through and you can just you can pick and choose. You go.
Why is there a fence in there in the first place?
On some
Just knock
issues
down
on
the
this
fence.
side, knock down the wall, and then everyone can be together. Good. We just fixed the world.
There we go.
Favorite movie? Go.
Get rid of fence builders.
Sitters. That's a whole industry. That's like logging 2020. We can't tear down the trees, so we're tearing down the fences. People are going to be pissed, mate.
There'll be new
There's
jobs.
going to be some
pop up,
Aussie
I'm sure.
bogan larrikins, chucking barbs at the watering hole.
Chucking bombs.
It's a pub, whatever. At Willem Dafoe. It's a great movie. I actually can't remember what it was called. I'll find it. Anyway, tell us what your favorite movie is.
So
I'll tell
one
you
of my favorite
one
movies
my-
is The Departed. Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah,
Leo,
good.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon's Italian. Irish accent in that is hilarious.
Yeah.
When he says
it's actually
like,
got a brilliant cast. Mark Wahlberg.
brilliant cast, brilliant movie. It's up there. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but it's definitely up there. So
Lord of the
Departed.
Rings.
Give me top 5. I'll take top 5.
Can Lord of the Rings be one entrance?
Yes.
Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Favorite character in Lord of the Rings?
Legolas. Obviously.
Oh, he used to be mine, but Aragorn.
Yeah. He's
He reminds me of me. I'm kidding. I'm more of a Merry or a Pippin. I knew you'd love that. I knew that again.
What else?
I've watched too many movies lately.
Uh,
The Hunter, 2011.
there you go.
Willem Dafoe. It's brilliant.
Nice.
It's on Stan if anyone is watching at home. Our third unofficial sponsor for the evening.
Get Stan.
You've done, give me 2 of 5.
Let me sit on it.
No, you can't. You got to pick.
Oh.
We got stuff to talk about.
Uh,
I want to talk about the fall of the Berlin Wall. I think that's important.
Jesus. Going back a ways.
You got 3 more. Go on.
I honestly can't think of it. Oh, something that I watched recently.
All right, here's the correct answer.
Prisoners. I watched recently.
Very good. 4.5 star movie.
Okay, good.
Very good movie. Great cast. Great
story.
execution.
Yeah.
Good story. Directed beautifully.
It's not usually my type of film either, but I enjoyed it a lot.
I think the star power of Paul Dano and and
Hugh.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh. Who?
Who
Hugh came up with a conversation today with us, didn't he?
he did.
Yeah, brilliant movie. David Fincher, the director. I'm pretty sure it's David Fincher. Anyway, good. Here's the correct answer to your top 5 movies. Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi, probably friends with Jacinta.
Probably.
Grand Budapest Hotel,
Not seen it.
Wes Anderson, just brilliant. Bit of Bill Murray, bit of Jason Schwartzman, bit of Ralph Fiennes, bit of Jeff Goldblum. It's just, all right, you're not working tomorrow. You're going to have a day off. You're going to watch The Lorax. You're going to watch Jojo Rabbit. Then you're going to watch The Grand Budapest Hotel. Yeah. Then you're going to watch Her with Joaquin Phoenix. This is where you'll fall in love with Scarlett Johansson without actually having to see her for the whole movie. It's brilliant. Then it gets a little muddy, like the waters get a little muddier. Like I've got a lot that I could choose, but based on my current mindset and mood, 7 goes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Seen it?
I have not.
Oh, what is wrong with you?
Bit of Brad Pitt.
I usually think we resonate on a lot of things, and then we have these kind of conversations, and you're just like, well, I don't like good things. It's all.
It's not that I don't like it. I just fill my time with other things. But go on, number 5.
Well, I could. So on my letterbox, for anyone still listening, if you are still listening, bravo. Secondly, I have a Letterboxd account, which is a great app for social media and movies. I've got a 30 top movies list, which brilliant. It'll change your life. If you watch all those 30 movies, life is just wonderful. The existentialism like just floats away into just a brilliant appreciation for life. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, I think is one of the most underrated movies ever made.
Okay.
Lost in Translation.
Mm-hmm.
Or Portrait of a Lady on Fire for number 4.
You've listed about 12 films.
No, this is my 5th.
Oh.
And then I don't know. Moonrise Kingdom's up there. The Lobster's up there. Whiplash is up there. I don't know. Inside Out. You seen Inside Out? Surely you've seen Inside Out.
I have seen Inside Out.
See, Inside Out, brilliant film. Like,
yep.
Poignant message.
Yeah. Brilliant
execution. It's just good. See, these are the things. Anyway.
Yeah, so that was brilliant.
How do we fix the fitness industry?
Absolutely brilliant. Fitness industry.
Because the fitness industry, like many industries in 2020, is driven by the social media-ification of our society, and it's driven by what's considered cool rather than what works. Okay, so actually, here's the answer: how to fix any industry: make it meritocratic rather than. Is that a word? Can I just make that up?
I think you did.
Is meritocratic a word?
Meritocracy is a word. Make it
Yes.
a meritocracy.
Yeah, but I feel as though meritocratic is a word.
I think it is.
I don't care. I'm running with it. It's a word now. Check it out. Oxford, you're welcome. 4th unofficial sponsor of the podcast. But we make it a meritocracy where the best ideas win out. It doesn't matter popularity, et cetera, et cetera. The best and correct ideas win out.
It is the
Discuss.
The separation between science and state, or whatever the equivalent in the fitness industry is. It's the state.
Good. I love it.
Yeah, Logan, in the podcast that we did with him, number 84,
number 83.
83. Damn, 83.
You're one off. You're welcome.
He talks about fitness industry and how it is
meritocratic.
Meritocratic. Okay.
Fixed it.
the level of failure in the fitness industry would be unacceptable in any other industry. As in,
He uses the automobile. What's that industry called?
automotive.
Automotive. I was like, I got halfway through. I was like, I don't know how to finish this word.
Panic.
The automotive industry. It's like, imagine if you got your car and turned it on, and 40% of the time it didn't work.
Yeah.
There's the fitness industry in a nutshell.
There is, like what you said, everyone just wants the latest, sexiest, most Instagram-worthy program, workout, diet to use, and they stick with that. And they don't have the commitment to the things that really matter, the hard work and the showing up every day in order to actually achieve what they want.
Yes. And that leaves a big hole of unsatisfied,
Unhealthy
people, unhealthy people who feel, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, people who feel unable to actually reach their goals. So, it's almost like a defeatist result in the fact that they're like, oh, I tried and it didn't work. Well, that's fine, but did you try the right thing? And did you try it for long enough? And that's like the biggest gap I find in people who don't achieve what they want to achieve. It's like and I'll use like fitness examples here. It's like, oh, I didn't put on enough size. I didn't put on the size I wanted, but I only trained for 6 months. Or I didn't lose the weight, but I only tracked my calories for a third of the time I was trying to lose my weight. Like, you're so close. And this is the frustrating thing. It's like people, and this goes for like everything. And we talked about government, we talked about climate change. We'll fix conspiracy theories next, because I can go off the deep end for that. I feel as though, like I said, if we know better, we do better. And if we are able to do better, then we're able to be better consistently, and we're able to upskill and transcend our previous capacity. The problem is that majority of the world's issues aren't due to the nefarious outputs or decisions of humans, which a lot of people would like to believe. They're usually just due to incompetence and our inability to derive the result that we're after from the work we put in. So when it comes to things like fitness, which is just a part of the whole social construct of how the world works, fitness is obviously like part of the self-actualization stuff, because we want to be fitter, we want to be healthier. If we don't have somewhere to sleep and we don't have food, then no one gives a fuck what you bench. Just public service announcement, no one gives a fuck what you bench anyway. But the majority of those people who decide to stop trying or fall off the wagon or say it's too hard or say it didn't work or whatever, usually it's just a war of attrition. They haven't tried it for long enough, or they haven't tried the right thing. So if you're someone who hasn't achieved the goals you want to set, if you're still listening, do you reckon anyone's still listening?
Surely
there's someone with nothing better to do. If you have nothing better to do, I applaud you. Thank you.
Send me a big long walk.
Big long walk. Then just keep at it, because there's two alternatives, right? You keep at it. That's one alternative, I guess. Keep at it. You keep moving forward, and you either eventually get there or you die anyway, or you give up.
You're definitely not going to get
there. And then you definitely don't get there, and you die anyway. I don't know. I'd much rather take the first one.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that all the Instagram trainers and things don't tell you, is that the principles of training and fitness and health don't change regardless of the program that you're doing. The principles to lose weight or to get strong or to gain muscle or whatever the goal is or the thing is, they don't change. The science is there. And like you said, it's often just a matter of incompetence. And I think like a lot of the issue is that people want to help. They think that they're doing a public service by creating programs that people will sign on to, but when really they're just adding to the noise and the growing pool of things that aren't going to matter or things that don't make a difference.
Do you say, when you say pool of things that don't make a difference, is that more of like the low quality programs or
Yep.
Activities that may be more prevalent than the high quality ones?
Yes.
And again, we put our rose colored glasses towards sports science and strength and conditioning and exercise science because that's what we studied and that's what we do. But the simple answer, or the simple question that will give you the answer that you need is think of the thing you're doing now and ask yourself the question, how is that working for you? And if your answer is it's working great, carry on. Like,
That's right.
As you were, keep doing good things. Brilliant. If the answer is it's not working, then the follow-up question is that because of your commitment to the thing, or is it because the thing you're committed to isn't what it should be?
Yeah, it's the wrong thing.
And this is the hard conversations we were talking about before. Is if I've said, hey, I'm going to do the 10 to 15K program that Mitch has put together, and I get to week 4 and I start skipping sessions and I start not doing things, and then I kind of say, oh, I didn't improve my 10K time or my 15K time, Mitch's program is bullshit. Completely different conversation if I go, well, I did all the sessions and I improved at Mitch's program is brilliant. It's like you've got to do the thing to get the thing. You can't decide to pick and choose. And it's like it's a cliche quote. And guess what? I'm a quote guy, but it's a cliche quote in that you don't get upset that you didn't get the results for the work you didn't do. And it's like in the fitness industry, you can use brute force to hammer a square peg into a round hole. And what I mean by that is if you want to lose weight, you can flog yourself, you can eat nothing, and you're going to get where you want to get to. Or you can take a little bit of time to decide, okay, how am I going to hammer this square peg into a square hole? And you can go, well, I don't actually need to force the fucking thing in. I can just eat well, take a longer, more sustainable approach, look after my health and well-being. And, obviously for girls and guys, that has different implications. Jazz ran a brilliant seminar on the cycle last week. If you want it, send Simon a message and he'll send it to you probably. That's the thing. Like there is everything that we do in life, there is a best way to do it.
There's the path of
There's a best way to do it. We might, as humans, we might not have yet decided the best way to do it, but it's only through trial and error do we refine what the better ways to do it is, and we keep getting better and better and better, and eventually we'll hit a ceiling and we'll do best, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure I've nailed how to cook a steak. Like, if anyone wants some beautiful eye fillet, post-lockdown, give me a yell, come over, I'll cook you dinner, and it'll be brilliant, right? I've nailed steak. I've perfected steak. I've clocked steak. I can't I may not ever get better at making steak, but I'm happy with where I'm at, right? Hop Nation, with their bearded seal, may have nailed DDH hazy IPA. I can't see it being better. And if you want it to be better, prove it. Make something better. All right. Grant Rogers, Blake Bowden, make a better one. I challenge you. Okay. What was I talking about?
I don't remember.
No,
I don't think about it.
for the people that say that sucks, like for the people that, I don't know if I want to go back to the fitness example, but say we go back to the fitness example and we go, F45 sucks. Do something better. Like, don't be the guy that sits on the high horse that says that it sucks without actually doing anything about it. Decide what the thing is how you make it better, and then give it to the world. And then the proof, as they say, will be in the pudding.
The frustrating thing about the fitness industry is that a guy comes along who says that he's got a better thing than the last thing, does a brilliant job at, maybe they're like a marketing genius and they market it brilliantly, and they've got a system that works to bring people in. They become super successful, and everyone sees that everyone else is doing it, even though they aren't getting the results because they're not showing the results, and that guy wins.
Yeah. And then, but it becomes a conversation around why are we doing it in the first place? And what is the intended outcome that we're looking for? And this is where it gets a little muddy. The waters get a little muddy that we're talking about before, those waters. Like, we've been splashing around in them a little bit. And we go, okay, well, obviously results is important. And I think that's what everyone in the fitness industry should be judged on ultimately. But there's also the experience part of it.
Yeah.
Which is did you enjoy what you did? Did you enjoy the people you did it with? Did you connect? Did you grow or develop from that?
Yeah.
And if we tick off the results and we tick off the experience, and then the other part that's probably less paid attention to is like the education piece. Did I actually learn about why these things happened? Like, we talk a lot about being process orientated rather than results orientated. And I would like to think that when anyone leaves Virtus for whatever reason, and it's easy for us to like pump up what we do because we think it's the best, and et cetera, because that's why we choose to do it the way we do it, because we think this is the best way we've figured out so far. But when people leave Virtus, I would like to think that they could leave, go train somewhere else, and be able to utilize all of the principles and all of the learnings that they acquired along the way to improve their training somewhere else.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know being an important part. It may be true. I may be wrong. I don't know that F45 can say the same thing, or that your core can say the same thing, or that your CrossFit can say the same thing.
I also don't know.
Oh, so what we're saying is we're on the fence. Didn't we knock down the fence like an hour and a half ago?
Did we get rid of fence builders?
The fence builders have started a rebellion. They're not overly happy around our derailment of the fence industry.
Yeah, and as long as people aren't going backwards, as long as like if a gym or a method is focused on the experience piece, awesome. But if their people are going backwards, or if they're staying the same, then that is, again, not what we are here to do.
Yeah, and this is the the difficult part of this conversation. It's like, well, obviously there's part of the responsibility lands on the facility, the gym, the system to deliver results. But here's the thing. You are completely responsible for everything in your own world, as Simon would like to teach all 4-year-olds out there. That's basically what I heard before. So, where does and it's a level of degrees, same as old Vladimir Putin that we mentioned before.
Yeah.
When did he become Vladimir Putin and not just a cute little 4-year-old?
Bloody boy.
It's a level of degrees. It's like, well, how much of it is the responsibility of the organization and how much of the responsibility of the person? And actually, rather than degrees, I've changed it. Here's what I think it is. It's all responsibility.
Yes.
Put that down. It's all responsibility. You are completely responsible. So to all the Virtus members, you are completely responsible for your health, well-being, and ability to do good things, right? Put that down for a second. Full stop. We are also completely responsible to teach you and to help you get to the point or position that you want to be to do good things.
Yeah.
We are equally responsible. Then there's no distribution of responsibility. There's no handballing. We're all responsible. So do the thing.
Yeah. And when people neglect that responsibility, I'm not sure if that's the right word. Neglect that responsibility or
attempt to redistribute.
Yeah, or handball it to someone else, then that's when the wheels fall off because nobody's going to come and save you.
Oh, I love that quote. And we've seen it we've been in lockdown 6.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 weeks of beautiful
freedom,
beautiful artificial sunshine.
Freedom.
It was bliss. It was heaven. This is what I imagine heaven will be. And the distribution of responsibility to Dan Andrews or to hotel quarantine or whatever, it's mind-blowing because there's no utility in that. There's no utility in saying, fuck Dan Andrews, this is bullshit. Like, just let me live my life. My mental health is deteriorating. All of those things might be true, but there's no utility in saying that. There's utility in saying, what can I do, me, to look after myself better so that right now I can be in a better position than I was yesterday or 10 minutes ago. And obviously that puts us in a better position for that point of time in the future where we do get to go back to normal existence. For everyone listening at home, if you're still listening, I did the quotation marks, the bunny ears. You've got to understand that it doesn't matter what you think, it matters what you do. Our thoughts are who we aspire to be. Our actions are who we end up being. Determine who we end up being, sorry.
Like that.
And I think that was some Wallace journaling a couple of days ago. And I think that the free will debate's an easy example. And how long you got? No, I'm not going to go in long. I've got 30 seconds. 30 seconds of this. The free will debate's an easy example, right? Okay, we understand that this determinism is probably a thing. We have no say in it all. Life just happens, bad luck, chaos, etc. Or if there's 0.00001% of a chance that free will exists, then it's a non-conversation. It doesn't matter. If we have the ability to alter the future by the way we act, best we get to work. Tommy Hafey quote to finish, the great Richmond superstar and Collingwood coach, which is probably the way he spent his life the best. I actually ran into him at the hospital just before my pa passed away, and it was one of those, like, you see this person that you've grown up idolizing in different ways, and he walked past me and my dad, and he's like, "Hey lads, how you going?" And I was like, "Oh, Tommy Hafey said hi to me." Anyway, so great man. But one of his quotes was, "If it is to be, it is up to me." And if here's education, figure out a way to teach our kids that and give them the tools to go out in the world and do good things, then the world's going to be a better place.
Imagine if everyone put their energy instead of putting it toward protesting things that don't really matter in the scheme of things, and put the energy toward doing good, productive things that helped people.
Like what? Like what's your example for protesting that doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter to me. This is my biased opinion. But the wearing of masks, like,
just fucking wear the mask.
Wear the mask. It is a minor inconvenience to have something on my face at the recommendation of scientists.
You've got a terrible lid anyway, so
doing everyone a favor anyway.
Well, so for square matrix, should I talk to that? Because I think that's important.
Sure.
So, all right, we're right about masks. So, sorry, scientists are right about masks and they improve the spread. Then if we wear it, great, the world is safer. If we don't wear it, we're fucked. Yeah. If we're wrong about masks and we do wear it, we got a piece of cloth on it over our mouth. That's the biggest inconvenience. And if we don't wear it, then nothing happens. So of the four options of my square is great. It's inconvenience. It's nothing happens, and it's we're fucked. And the two options are wear the mask, don't wear the mask.
Yeah.
Sorry, wear the mask, don't wear the mask. X and Y axis getting mixed up. Then wear the mask, because like it's the same thing with climate change. If we do something about it and there's actually no such thing as climate change, the world is happier and healthier and we get to live in a better place.
Anyway, yeah.
If we don't do anything about it and climate change turns out to be correct, we're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not be fucked.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I guess that's the extent of my argument. If anyone listening has a different argument, feel free to put it in the suggestion box right here.
Pointing to a bit.
Listening at home, I picked up a bit. I just there's my logic, and I'm sticking with it. I'm more than open to a conversation around how I might be wrong about this, because if I take the last 28 years of my life, I'm probably wrong about this. But I just think that if you can do better, if you know better, you should do better. The mask one, it just blows my mind that is an actual conversation.
Likewise.
Did you see the video of Trump breathing today? Just a little sidebar.
No.
So basically, he's decided that after being diagnosed with COVID as an obese, unfit 70-something-year-old, that he's going to spend 2 days who's got the best medical care on the planet available to him. He's decided he's going to leave the hospital to go back to the White House. So there was a video today of him, I think, standing maybe outside the hospital or at the White House. I didn't actually check. Of him, he took off his mask and he's like wincing in pain and he's like breathing, but you could tell that it's like someone. Have you ever been punched in the solar plexus, Simon? Where you're like,
I have not.
Choking for breath. I love that term. I don't actually know if it's anatomical or not. But who knows?
I've only been the puncher, not the punchy.
The feeling that I guess I would assume, lung cancer patients and people with emphysema and things like that deal with. Like, he was visibly uncomfortable and visibly gasping for breath. So it's Tuesday, the 6th of October. If he is still, if his heart's still pumping in a week, then he's potentially got through the worst of it. But it was fascinating to see his, I guess, that stand for, I don't know, maybe it's like a power move or whatever you want to call it.
He doesn't do anything by accident, right? So he's obviously,
or he's just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. And he's going, my followers need to see me up and about.
Yeah.
But it may be the thing that kills him. Maybe by the time we release this, he won't be Trump anymore. I don't know. Who knows? He might have been Trumped.
The thing that makes me laugh is him saying, I went to school. Like, I didn't just this. I went through the school. This is not just me, reading the books. I experienced it. I went through it.
His quotes, if you read them,
They
like
are
subjectively, or maybe objectively is the word I'm looking for. But if you read them subjectively from our point of view, we go, this is a fucking the work of a madman. And I think it's fascinating.
It's bizarre.
People would be like, why the fuck are they talking about US politics? This is the gateway to the modern world. Like these are the people making decisions that impact us. They reverberate through the global society immensely. And I think it's important that we pay attention to it. And the thing that the kicker is, and this is me talking from a very, very low base of what the fuck's going on. But the kicker for me is when he tweets today that, we shouldn't be worried about, don't be worried about coronavirus. Don't let it rule your lives. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along those lines. 200,000 people from your country have died. I get that the US has 320 million, so you could probably spare a few. But at the end of the day, I have always been, and I am currently of the belief that a life is precious because once it's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back, right?
Pro-life.
I am pro-life and not pro-life before life actually is life. I draw the line that when, if you need to go down the route of abortion, go down it. I don't have any issue with it for those that need a clarification. But I'm pro-life. Here's the thing. If I lose my job because of this pandemic and we lose the business and Virtus is gone, fucking that sucks, right? But at the end of the day, we're still here. We still have each other. What's the Matilda? Is it Matilda? But most of all, we have each other. Anyway. Madeline.
Madeline. No.
Yeah, it's Madeline. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. But we have our bread, we have our butter. But most of all, we have each other. Right. That's where we'd be if you like that.
I love that.
See, pop culture reference. You're welcome. Have you seen that movie?
It's not a movie, it's a TV show. And yes.
I know. I used to love watching
I passed the test.
1 from 7. You fuck.
Yay.
So here's the we lose Virtus, we lose the business, and it's all gone. Man, that sucks, right? That's rough. But we're still here. We have each other, and we can rebuild. We can figure it out. King's Landing gets burnt by the fucking dragons. They're gonna rebuild. Might look different, but they'll rebuild. Bran the Builder, obviously, as king, will rebuild. That still makes me mad, but I don't want to talk about it. But if grandma dies, grandma's dead. Grandma's gone. And as morbid as that is, if it's a conversation between grandma and Virtus can fuck off every day of the week. As much as this place is my life and is everything that I love, it's not a conversation.
Yeah.
Even if it's 6 months with grandma or 12 months with grandma or 5 years with grandma or 10 years, it doesn't matter. There's things. This book, brilliant book. One of the parts in there talks about, this book's about mental models, right? And it talks about irreversible and reversible decisions. The irreversible decision is letting grandma die. Can't do anything about that. Voldemort had a crack and he couldn't figure out immortality. Good job, Harry. Proud of you.
Snapping the older one.
Exactly. He fucked it off. He went. It's like me throwing social media off the cliff last week. But what was I talking about?
Ultimate power.
Ultimate power. Yeah, he ditched it. He got rid of it. But the reversible decisions are if Virtus has to close and we go into liquidation or whatever happens there. Haven't read enough books about the economy to understand what actually happens. Say we close the business, we'll just start another one.
Yeah, when we can.
I don't get another grandma.
No.
And that conversation might be too close to home for some people, but it's genuinely for me. Sorry, I leant into the microphone, so sorry if I yelled in your ear. It's genuinely for me, that's the conversation.
Yep.
And if anyone wants to argue differently, fine. But for me, it's the loggers in Tasmania saying that we want to keep our jobs when at the end of the day, their jobs that if they go ahead will burn down the world and they won't exist anyway. That is all I have to say about that. Forrest Gump, you're welcome.
Who?
Oh, please don't do that to me. I tell you what, has Tom Hanks made a bad movie? Take all the time in the world. Everyone at home, text me if Tom Hanks has made a bad movie.
What's the one with the pilot? How he plays the pilot?
Honestly, it's brilliant. I watched it being like, this is going to be bullshit. It was elite.
Okay.
Like Sully, it's called.
Tom Sully, yeah.
And it's just called Sully.
Tom Sullenberger?
Yeah.
That's
it's just brilliant. It's the way they build the narrative around the accident. Sorry, the accident, the landing, and then whether it was intentional, whether it was an accident, for those that haven't seen the movie, they bounce between him talking in the deposition.
We'll go follow it off.
I'm okay with it. I love just talking shit for a couple of hours. It's brilliant. This is if my life could be designed by me, this is what it would be. It'd just be me talking shit.
Lachlan,
obviously,
your life is designed by you.
Why do you think we're doing this right now? Because I said, let's do a bonus episode where we talk shit for a couple of hours. And if people want to listen to it, great. If they don't, we've had fun. Are you having fun?
I've had fun.
Is everyone at home having fun? I can only assume that there's a whole crowd of people going, yeah! Like Lucy does at the moment, where I go, yeah! And she goes, and it's the cutest fucking thing ever.
Oh God!
You saw that video the other day of me cooking food, and I was like doing this, and she's just like, she's like, she just loves good things. It's great. I'm teaching my daughter to just be all about good things. I've lost the train of thought. What are we talking about?
That's Sully being in the disposition. Desposito.
The Desposito. So he was in a deposition, and like he goes through, it's like a commission around like whether he was at fault or not. And the way they structure the narrative, because you just think, okay, plane's in the air, plane crashes in the Hudson, people are saved, good job, good movie. We're 4 minutes in now. What do we talk about? It's actually an exceptional movie. You know what movie blew my mind that was really good?
What?
Tom Hanks again. Was The Terminal. So
I haven't seen it.
Here's my quick summary of it. Basically, he's from a country that doesn't, I don't think it exists in real life. I can't remember what the country actually was. But he's from a small Eastern European country that he flies into the US, and he's in the terminal, and he's about to, I think, board another plane or maybe leave, like go to New York to. Actually, I've just remembered. So he has his father's ashes that. What was it? Yeah, I'm probably going to butcher it anyway. But I think there was like a big jazz band that he wanted. His father was collecting all their signatures, and there's one person that he didn't get signature from. So he has his father's ashes because he passed away without getting that signature, and he wants to go meet that person to get the signature. If I'm butchering it, sorry, Tom. I apologize. Just give me a bell and we can chat about it. But the premise is he gets to the airport, and as he's flying in the air and as he lands in the airport, there's a coup in his country, and basically all of the passports are basically like null and void. So he has to stay in the airport for a period of time, right? Which Tom Hanks in an airport, yeah, great. But he ends up like learning how to live in the airport and becoming a carpenter and working for one of the local businesses and doing all this cool shit. But it's like the balance and bouncing between him and like the guy who's meant to kick him out, but can't actually kick him out because of the the rules around, kicking out someone without a passport, and it's like he needs to go home, but he also wants to do this thing for his dad. So it's just good to and froing, and it's a wonderful movie, and everyone should watch it. I watched it with I went in with it with, I was on a bit of a Tom Hanks binge. I think I just watched Forrest and, watched a few of his movies, and I went, you know what? This is on Stan, fourth podcast sponsor for the day. And I think I want to watch it. And I left, I watched it, and I left the couch and moved into the bedroom because that's where I sleep, and that movie was brilliant. See what I rated it. Again, Letterboxd, if you're around it. I rated it 4 stars. That's 4 out of 5. That's pretty good. That's 80%. And there's maybe like 20 movies I rate 5 stars.
Yeah, good.
And if you want to know those movies, follow me on Letterboxd. I'm telling you now. Bad luck.
It's got a playlist.
It's not a playlist, man. It's just a list. All right. Can you grow up?
TV list.
Also,
list?
if you want playlists, my Spotify is elite at the moment. You got around my September playlist. What do you think?
September. It was. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Had it in the background while I worked. Got some good work done.
So, would you say that I'm responsible for all the good work you got done?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Pandering.
You're absolutely welcome.
Well, I'm better than good work. I didn't have a job, so thank you.
That's true. I can't argue with that. That's brilliant.
That is some sound logic.
What's your favorite book? I got this,
God.
Dougie Boxall. Dougie Boxall. Shout out to Dougie. I was trying to say 2 words at the same time. He sent me a message today and said, "What book should I read?" And he's like, "I'm compiling a big list of books." And brilliant message to receive, because I like books, hence the name of my future bookstore. And I said, I posted on Instagram a couple of weeks ago with here's 10 books I think everyone should read. Uh-huh. But I also followed that up with don't read books for the sake of reading books, which I've fallen in the trap of in the past of going of like, not just on the bookshelf, kind of like at a book. I read a book. Hey, I've read 80 books this year. There's a difference between reading a book and reading a book. Mm-hmm. So for those still listening, bravo, first of all. Second of all, if you read a book, read a book. And this is like 2018 Wallace versus 2020 Wallace. This is where I transcend and include, and I'm a much better person. When I read a book now, I read a book. When I read a book 2 years ago, I just read it. And I was like, sweet, I read a book. And I'd take bits and pieces, but rather than taking like 20% with me, now I take 40 or 50% with me.
Yep.
And it informs the way I live my life more than it did back in the day. Because I was just a fucking maniac reading books. I was like, I'm going to read 100 books this year. So I read 120 books that year, and I was like, I can't fucking remember any of them. I remember a bunch, but I don't remember enough of them to make it worthwhile. So what's your... So...
Favorite book.
That was a bit of a sidebar, but what's your favorite book, Simon?
The Alchemist is up there. Paulo Coelho.
Actually, I have 3 different questions. Favorite book, most impactful book, the book that everyone should read.
Okay. Favorite book? Okay. Book everyone should read, probably War of Art or Turning Pro.
Actually, great. Very, very good. Stephen Pressfield, just get around them. They're really short.
Very good.
Here's 2 I prepared earlier.
Yeah.
There they are. For those watching at home, if you're listening at home, bad luck. You can't see it. You just have to jump on YouTube. Turning Pro, War of Art.
Yeah.
Turning Pro's tagline is tap your inner power to create life's work. Really what it should be is how to not be shit. The War of Art is break through the blocks and win your creative battles. It's how to do nothing, how to not do nothing and do things that are good instead.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. They're exceptional. I need to reread them. I think. I'm gonna leave them on the desk.
I'm going to reread Turning Pro again soon. Most impactful book. Possibly Going Right.
Ooh, Logan, pump up. How's that? That's pandering. Which
It's
we love.
because I think about it all the time. And that's
Do you think about it all the time because you know Logan, and you have a relationship with Logan?
Potentially. But also, I think it's because it's very closely tied to the work that I do and like the change that I want to make in.
Well, there's utility in it as well. Like when I think about coffee, I think about common folk because I have a relationship with everyone that works with most people that work common folk, and there's a direct connection there. I don't know. It's maybe an interesting. Maybe that's something we can dive down. But if I think about like electricians, I go, the Reese's in my life. Yeah, they're my go-tos.
Yeah.
Like I don't think of alternate current and direct current. I think of my fans. So you've done impactful and you've done
what everyone should read.
What's favorite? Book. Oh, I'm gonna have a left of center answer for you. I think.
Don't know.
Are you just looking at your bookshelf with all my books that you need to give back to me?
Yeah, but I haven't read them, so
hurry up. It's my materialistic outlet. I need books, and there's a few important ones missing from my shelf.
I like books.
I like books.
I don't know.
Oh, this is a flashing light. You got 5 seconds.
It might be actually a fiction book.
Yeah. 3, 2.
Possibly Ice Station, Matthew Riley.
Oh, love that.
Matthew Riley is a very, very good fiction author. He's Australian as well, which we love. So, and I've like consumed every time I read his books, I just devour it. And I've read like his whole collection like 3 times.
See, that's cool. Like to be able to go, when I read one of these person's books or when I read this book, all I want to do is finish the book. It's like life ceases to exist external to the book. And I find I find that with most biographies that I resonate with.
Yeah.
On like especially Audible, I was like, I will listen to 6-7 hours a day.
Yeah.
I will do it when I'm working, when I'm walking, when I'm doing whatever, because I'm like, I just need to consume this book.
Yeah. Actually, bonus mention.
I didn't ask for 4, Simon. I asked for 3.
Shoe Dog by Phil Knight.
Shoe Dog is brilliant in the fact that it shows us that everyone's just fucking winging it, and everyone and here's the thing that I realized about Shoe Dog when I was thinking about it the other day, is that we draw parallels to the lessons in Shoe Dog because we know the end game. We know that they ended up a $1 billion company.
Yeah. And
Logan talks about this in Going Right. So this is not my idea, but there'd be millions, potentially thousands, hundreds of thousands of businesses that have gone through the same shit went through the same shit as Nike did, had the same cool stories, but then failed because life sucks and people die and bad things happen to good people, and not everyone's going to be a winner.
Yeah.
And that's the utility in Shoe Dog. It's just like, well, it shows the failures that led to the success. Again, success is directly married to failure, as my beautiful Notes Wisdom mentioned before, all those years ago. And Shoe Dog shows us that you need to fail to succeed, but it's not its job to do so. But it doesn't remind us of all the ships that wrecked along the shore to allow that, not to allow that, while Shoe Dog was able to have a safe landing.
Yep. Yeah. It is awesome. I just found that I just like I was listening to it on Audible, and I just wanted to just keep listening. And the way that he narrated it was awesome as well.
It's not him.
No,
It's not Phil Knight.
no, I don't know who it is actually, but
whatever the guy's name is, he's exceptional. I can tell you in a moment because
so good.
I listened to it a couple of weeks ago. I finished it again, 17th time.
Yeah, I only
such a hard
time recently. But
such a hard question though to pick. Rated by Norbert Leo Butz.
Good by Norbert.
Norbert's the dragon from Harry Potter. I find answering those questions so difficult because depending on what I'm currently reading will influence that immensely. The book that I think everyone should read right now, because I read it a couple of weeks ago, is The Obstacle Is the Way, which I guess is probably it's going to be a longer term. It would be a longer term answer because it leans on the ideas of Stoicism that I value so highly.
Yep.
And the art of doing hard things and the Stoic philosophy that is kind of overshadowed by the Buddhist philosophy of like life is suffering. It's like you need to do hard things for good things to happen, and I love that. What was that? What did I say? The book everyone should read.
So most impactful. Most
impactful for me. I read books like this one that I'm reading at the moment, and I'm just like every line I'm just like highlighting and writing stuff down. And like I said, I read books differently to how I did a couple of years ago. The most impactful has to come back to Ray Dalio and Principles. Just the lessons and the simplicity of it and the utility of decide what you know is true, create lessons or rules around it, and live your life by those rules. And they're not hard and fast, can't break them ever rules. They're fluid. But the ideas that he discusses and the way it's set out in terms of like his story and the life principles and work principles is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's based around the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell stuff, which there's a bunch of Joseph Campbell books up there that I think are very valuable. But the most impactful has to be that. Yeah. Has to be. In terms of my favorite, the book that I want to say is The Beach.
Oh yeah.
Which by what's his name? Alex Garland. The Beach by Alex Garland, which is obviously the same name as the movie with Leo.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've enjoyed a book that much.
That's cool.
As I did with that.
Yeah.
And I'd watched the movie a couple of times before I actually knew it was a book.
Mm.
And then like middle of last year, I was maybe in a bit of a rut with reading. And again, this is impacted by the recency of me consuming it because it was middle of last year. But the story is just brilliant. I love it. I've read 3 or 4 fiction books chasing that same feeling that I had, or the same connectedness and and link I had with those characters.
Mm.
And yeah, I had Leo in my head the whole time, but what's not to love about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's fascinating. I think it's special mention. How many special mentions can I have? I got like 47.
You got 1. We've already mentioned Sapiens, so that's
this doesn't count.
That doesn't count because we've already mentioned it.
Sapiens doesn't count. Meditations doesn't count because I've quoted Marcus Aurelius 14 times during this thing.
Yeah.
I think a special mention would be The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, because so I hadn't heard of the book, and Greg, the great man, the Fizz, the brewer of Angersburg, he said, comes to me one day, he goes, I've got a book for you that I think will illustrate the last 3 or 4 years of your journey. This is a couple of years ago, more than any others. And that was the like, as soon as he said that, I'm like, I'm sold. I'll read it. I'll consume it. I'll eat it up. And I actually read it on a little trip away with KP. We went to Torquay for a couple of days. And it's one of those, like, it's similar to The Alchemist with a little bit more authority in terms of like, here are the lessons.
Yep.
So for anyone that's read The Alchemist is basically like a parable around like life is a journey. And Celestine Prophecy is the same thing. Life is a journey, but it like goes, here are the rules to follow.
Yes.
And I followed that book up with it's called
It's the 12.
pardon me, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind,
Yeah, that is actually very good.
which is a brilliant book.
Vishen Lakiani.
Yes. And I think I read them one after the other, which obviously highlights this feeling. But I finished them both in a couple of days, and I was like, they're the same fucking book. Like, one of them is the parable supporting like story, like journey, and the other one's like, here's the answers.
Yeah.
And they're both as impactful and beneficial as each other. But it's like, here's the way to live your life. Here's one told as a story. Here's one told as
A framework.
Authority or a framework.
Yeah.
From authority is a framework from an authority.
Yeah.
Because the guy started Mind Valley, which is like massive. And I think that's immensely powerful in terms of like what we can actually. Books are the carriers of civilization, Simon. They are the second best use of a tree, and they create a lens into which we can see the way other people thought. And I wish I cared as much about books when I was growing up as I do now.
I wish I read more nonfiction growing up.
Yeah.
I read a lot of fiction. Like I used to just like devour stuff.
So did I. And then there was a big chunk of time where I didn't read because reading's not cool. How do we make reading cool again?
Make reading cool. I like books.
I like books. Come hang out. I like books.
Make books
Maybe,
cool again. What's
cool? What are the things that are cool?
I don't know. Reading, doing work, drinking beers.
Leaning in. Just you.
Doing the work.
Doing hard things.
I think
so basically the way we fix it. So what we're coming to is we're going big full circle, and the way to fix education is to make reading cool again.
Easy.
But
I think we fixed it.
Reading cool things that make the world a better place, not reading like the Old Testament or anything like that.
I'm sure there's lessons to be learned.
If you there's many lessons. There's many lessons, but all of the lessons I've learned from the Old Testament have been through the vessels that are books and the authors that write about the lessons rather than the lessons itself. So all of the lessons for me are secondhand rather than firsthand.
Okay.
There's the thing about education. There's like, obviously there's firsthand knowledge, which is like you experiencing it. The secondhand knowledge is someone telling you about experience. And maybe there's third hand, which is like literature.
Yeah.
And all of them are important, but maybe depending on the topic will depend on which one you'll benefit from more. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Have you seen it?
I have not.
I can't be too mad because I only saw it a couple of weeks ago. It's from like 1987 or something. But Keanu Reeves doing good things. But it's brilliant because it takes two idiots through time and they learn a bunch of stuff. And it's a really cool look at like all the lessons of the different times that human history.
Didn't we just do that?
What?
Two idiots like go through time.
We pretty much did. So as a way to finish the podcast, I am going to steal from Bill and Ted and just say, be excellent to each other. That's it. We're done. Do we want to talk anymore? Because I could go all night, but I know that we need to go to bed and it's been a long day and COVID's still going. So it's been like 7 months and we're tired and we're sick of staring at Zoom. And
it's been
3
hours.
Like if you're still like, it's been 3 hours since we've been on the call. We started like Maybe it's been 2 and a bit. But the people walking and they're tired and they're ticking the legs over and they're like, can you two shut the fuck up so I can go home? Like, please make this quick so I can go home to my family. And obviously we haven't. So, and I don't think there's anything else we need to solve. I think we've sorted it all. Basically what we're saying is read books, listen to good people, watch good movies, listen to good things, consume good content. The way you think is the way you are. If you want a high quality life, have high quality thoughts. That's it. And turn those high quality thoughts into high quality actions. And, we look forward to seeing you back in the gym when we're back in the gym sometime in the future, because we have no fucking clue when it'll be. Hopefully Dan Andrews wears his North Face jacket sometime over the next couple of weeks and panders to the people and gives them what they want, because I think we've done a brilliant job to, I think no people died today. 0 people died today from COVID, which is a pretty fucking good thing.
Love
so
that. In Victoria.
I took
Australia.
Yeah. Let's talk about Victoria. Like we're being a little enclosed, but we talked earlier about the value of life, and if you're listening then and you're still listening now, and you saved a life today, and I think we shouldn't undervalue that contribution to our world. So, cheers to you. Cheers to us. Cheers, Top Nation. And I would just like to say, be excellent to each other, like Bill and Ted. Can you fucking stop recording?
That's beautiful.
Stop talking shit. You like that?
Not all.
Just do good things and never postpone joy, ever. Just do things if they feel good, but also make sure you contribute to society at the same time, because there's a balance, right? You can't just do shit that feels good, because you'll ruin the other shit. You need to contribute and do good things. Contribute and do good things. Contribute and do good things. Be wonderful.